We are live, Tegan. Welcome, everybody, to the Elite Podcast, episode 27. My brother, big bro, what good?
Well, we're back like Jordan. Thank God. Ain't nothing major happened during the little storm. But obviously, you see what's going on. They're getting ready to destroy Louisiana. So, a lot of praise to all my family and friends up there. So, you guys batten down. Man, there's not much we could say. They're coming at you.
Yeah, that's true, man. That's true.
We lucky
in
the Virgin
Islands, man. How your week been?
I'm telling you, we are so lucky and blessed in the Virgin Islands because, dude, you see how big that storm is? If that thing I hit St. Croix, St. Thomas, and St. John again, man, that would have sent we back about 5 years. But we ain't out of it yet. But we're just gonna keep the praise going. Hopefully, we can continue to be blessed. And that's about it. Everything else is fine. We're still under our 14-day quarantine, the entire state, trying to get this COVID thing down. Everybody just need to take precautions, stay at home, understand that this coronavirus is real, whether man-made or not. It's out there. It can take your life, especially if you have any underlying disease or any kind of ailment. So just prepare yourself. Take care. You guys going out to the beach, the younger generation, take care of yourself. And hey, let me get through this together.
Definitely, man. Definitely. Well said. Well said. Well said. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a shout out the way, Tegan. You know how we do it.
Do your thing.
Yeah, man. So welcome everybody. Welcome. Good night. Good evening. Welcome to everybody. Hail up. So get us situated. Hey, I apologize to the stream. For some reason, the stream is acting up today, kind of freezing up and pausing up and stuff like that. So you guys give us some feedback. Let us know. So we got Legends 340, 340.com. Legends 340. I get one of the shots here, as you can see. Legends 340. Yeah. You gotta represent, man. I like the white with the blue and the yellow and stuff like that. So, big up to Legends340.com. We also got Savory Eats LLC, based in Orlando by Sheena Fontaine. You guys got to support as well too. She have a food sale coming up, so you guys definitely got to support. We also have the Good Life Apparel, Big up to Nato. He got some nice fresh garments as well too. Also follow on Instagram at Melting Pot Cooking Class. Also meltingpotcookingclass.com. You guys go out and check it out. We also got Cebu Caribbean Restaurant. We got Apollo Legion. Big up to Apollo Legion.
Big up my boy Poyo.
Big up Poyo. Big up. We also got follow on Instagram, Island Destiny 340, Serenity Braids by Nikki. You guys go and check that out. Also, you guys follow and check out his website, Rico Canario. That was our previous guest. www.lulu.com/spotlight/R Canario. You guys go check that out. He has a lot of collectibles, a lot of history and stuff. So you guys check that out. He has a lot of different books too as well. Also, we have Right Way Service Station located in Princess next to Avis. We have Paris Enterprise. We also have Livewire Sports. You guys follow Livewire Sports on Facebook. Livewire Sports. They're live every Tuesday, 7 p.m. So you guys go and follow that. We also got Midnight Entertainment. They got the new single, Bring Out the City, out on iTunes now. So you guys go check that out. Support Midnight Entertainment, new single, Bring Out the City. Big up to Frenchie, doing it big in Jacksonville. We also got, kind of messing up here. We also got Next Level Up Printing. Big up to Chico. We also got BoliviaDesire.com. You guys go check out the nice jewelry. They be having some really nice, beautiful, pretty jewelry. So all the guys out there, if your wife, your fiance, your significant other, your girlfriend, whoever, you guys go check out the website, and you guys could probably buy them something nice, for their birthday, etc. We also got Bubbles Promotion, big up to Bubbles, big up to Cuz. And then we also got a special one here, Tegan. We got Brito's Kitchen laptop giveaway. So in order to win so they got 2 laptops. In order to win the laptops, you gotta follow at Brino's Kitchen on Facebook. Then second, you have to like and share the post. And third, you have to comment Brino's Kitchen. So I have it up there, so you guys could take a look and try to win a free laptop. I guess that, they're doing a free giveaway, trying to give back to the community and stuff like that for the ones them that really needs a computer, because they're doing all this virtual stuff. So a lot of computers, a lot of kids gonna need it and stuff. But how expensive that is.
Definitely.
So,
Yep.
yeah, man.
That's a good thing. I love that. Love that.
Yeah, man. And last but not least, VI Legends. Follow on YouTube, VI Legend, v.i.legends. Follow our YouTube channel. If there's any episodes you guys miss, you guys could type in the person name on YouTube as well, and it will pop up as well too. So you guys go check that out. So Tegan.
Well, obviously, you have to talk about the last episode because we couldn't get to come on. Me and Pang was missing in action. MIA. Obviously, I understand. I don't know what Pang had, but he'll come on and let me know. Either way, I felt you did a good job. I was checking in and out. And what was the guest name again?
Rico Canario.
Rico, yes, definitely. Rico had a lot of information in terms of the book. So I didn't even know nothing about that. And you started to post some of the highlights he had in the book. I would like to get a copy. So that would be kind of cool. You can share me the link where I can get a copy. But you did a good job. You look like Colin Cowherd for the day. So I'll call you Mumba Cowherd. Excellent job. I must say, you can really hold on the foot by yourself. You're getting good at this, man. You even got 2 mic or something. I even see 2 mic on your screen. Man, you got a piece.
I think this is for like the echo or something. Whoever go with these stuff, man, inform me what this is, because I don't even know Tegan. Trust me. As a rookie. Man.
You did a very good job. I'm very proud of you, man. You did an awesome job. Real good job.
Man, I appreciate it, man.
Like you said, I hope you get to come back on. So the whole crew will be on, and because he have a lot of information we definitely need to spread to the Virgin Islands. So that was really cool to see somebody is really documenting all of this history. So that was cool to see.
Yeah, man. I appreciate the kind words, man. Appreciate that, man. You know how it is, man.
And look what I found. Bam. 2 Tegan. He was talking smack about me.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this guy going to get framed and go up in my house. You see how brand new it still is? How long ago you give me this?
Man,
brand new.
That's a long time ago. That's over 10 years ago, brother. Easily.
Okay.
Hey, I appreciate it.
That's how much I appreciate you. So don't say I show you your stuff there.
Hey, much love, big bro, man. I appreciate it, man. You know how it is, man.
But I got you luck.
Yeah, man.
I got you luck.
Yeah, so he's definitely. Oh, he has a copy. He has the DVD of the Iran job.
Oh, cool! I didn't even know that.
He showed it. So I told him that we got to get you to sign it. So you sign, and he's
no problem, man. You know it is. I got you anytime.
Yeah, man. But it was a great episode, man. It was a great episode. It was more like a history lesson. He has a lot of information, man. He has a lot of collectibles. He has some stuff to give away to the to the people in the I don't want to call them fans, to the viewers
who follows our show.
Yeah, who follows our show. So he has some collectibles he's willing to give out. So we just got to come up with like a contest for them to win that prize and stuff. But it was a great episode. We need to have him back on. He's gonna come back on, and once he come back on, and we the whole crew is gonna be fun, man. So he could really get in depth as well too. But it was a great episode, man. Big up to Rico, and he's gonna be back. So amazing stuff.
That's love. Big up, Rico. You did an excellent job.
Man.
It was too short, but you did an excellent job. No, when you come on the Elite podcast, we don't go nothing less than 90. We got about 90 minutes.
That's true. That's
why it's called the Elite podcast.
Yeah. You know what it is, man? Is crazy because all the guests that said, man, about an hour and a half, maybe 2, and the next year we are 3 hours, and the guests feel they feel good and stuff like that, man. So it goes by quick. It goes by real quick.
Yep. Yeah. So, once you're into the story and you're starting to get pulled in, the time really flies by. Nobody ain't really checking the time, but I definitely understand what you're saying.
Yeah, man. So
So it's all about Mona Barnes, Pastor Barnes today. What do you think? Now it's time for her to tell her story. Give me
Yes.
some background and your history on her.
My history on her is that I heard her name a few times, and then when we was doing G-Nix in episode, that's when I kind of get to speak to her a lot more and get to know her a little bit, you know. So, growing up, and it's no knock to I'm not trying to be negative or anything, but you don't really hear a lot about the people them when you're growing up here. You know how it is. They don't really highlight a lot of the athletes and stuff like that. So we growing up, we don't really get a chance to learn about them and stuff like that. So I didn't really hear much about Mona Barnes. I might have heard her name a few times in Little League and stuff like that. But as far as, when I was in high school, I never really heard it. Nobody never used to really talk about her name. And then when we started this platform, and then people started, each episode, I guess, would be like Mona Barnes, female basketball player, etc., and stuff. That's when you started hearing her name and stuff. So I just can't wait to hear her story, man. I know her story is amazing. She kind of touched a little bit on it when we did G-Nix, so I just can't wait. And I'm ready. So.
Well, as for me, I'm in the same boat as you because I'm not that much older than you, only 2 years. But
yeah,
I actually met Mona Barnes when I was a lot younger. She used to come around the games then. She used to be there. Heidi used to be there. Heidi Williams, and they used to be giving me advices and stuff like that. But they was always positive, always pushing you to do things right. So
yes.
What you see is what you get out of her. She's always a very positive woman. She's definitely going to be around the youth of the Virgin Islands. She's going to continue doing it. Now that she's a pastor, she even give back with her ministry into the youths, and she have so many movement with the youths. And one of the things she did, she had a basketball court by her church. So when I used to drive by there, I was like, man, that gotta be Pastor Barnes Church, because she definitely had to have basketball close by. But I mean, what you see is what you get. I definitely want to hear a lot more about her, because she have spent so much time knowing about me. So now it's my reciprocal to really sit back and listen. So without further ado, more than a pastor, Pastor Barnes, the table is yours. The show is yours. Welcome to the Elite Podcast.
Hey, good evening. Thank you so much for the opportunity to actually be on your platform. I really have to start by saying I feel so blessed to be able to be on the show, and just thinking about some of the things that I would talk about and the people that I would talk about that actually had an impact on my life in sports. So I actually played basketball and softball. So I'll talk about basketball a little bit first, because that was the sport that I played first. My oldest sister, you guys probably don't know, because she older than me. June Phipps, her name was June Phipps. She's now June Dampier. I remember one year she asked our stepdad, to just build a court, because she was just always in sports. And maybe I was about 5 or 6. And so like every morning, like 5 o'clock, she would call me outside as soon as we could see. And, she keep telling me she gonna teach me to play this game. But Tegan, I never get to shoot, Everything she would tell me, play defense, put up your hand, move your feet, slide, and I'm like, what is she talking about? You gotta stop me from making the shot. And I kid you not, she did that with me day in and day out. And as I got older, she started playing in junior high, and then she played in high school, and she just started teaching me the game. Really, I learned the game of basketball from her. When I got about 12 or 13, that's the age, Tegan, you just start smelling yourself. And, one day I said, well, I'm going to play her one-on-one, man, and I beat her, and it was over. She got so mad, I think she beat me up, But I learned so much from her. And when I look back in retrospect, she taught me to defend. And I kind of still carry it, in my life. I just love people and stuff, but I defend. I defend the ones that I love. And I know you might say, well, like from basketball, yeah. The key to the sport is if I could prevent you from scoring, then
that's right.
The probability is greater that we're gonna win.
That's true.
So did that. I played, the same elementary, junior high. When I got to high school, really started playing under Bud Hazard at Central High, and he grafted me the name Bad News Barnes because
Wow.
it was always bad news, because I was, when you think you all of that and you think you got it going on, and then you do enough suicides and you do enough bleachers and it kind of curves your brain. But yeah, Hazel was one of my first courses that actually, the fundamentals, the foot movement, jumping in between the ropes, jumping, rebounding, and passing on the wing. But the one thing I would say, I played in the shadow of, I would say, one of the best female basketball players in this territory, bar none. And that's Stephanie Pidy Williams. We played together. And so when I played for Central, I played point. And she played, she was supposed to be playing center, Tegan, but she didn't want to be the point.
Yeah.
So as soon as as she take out the ball, before I could reach her court, she done pass the ball. But when you pass it to her, it's good for two. Because back in those days they didn't have 3-pointer. But I was sharing with some young people at my church, and I was telling them when I played with Pidy, she was shooting 3-pointers before the line even existed. And that's a fact. We've traveled a lot together. We've been friends from the 7th grade, and we're friends to today. And one thing that basketball did for me, it gave me an opportunity to travel as a youngster. We traveled to St. Thomas, we traveled to Puerto Rico, just learning into island sports, learning to just be around people, how to conduct yourself in the absence of your parents. And so sports kept me grounded. I could have gotten in a lot of trouble. But sports really, really, it saved my life. And let me just say that. And so I graduated from Central. And of course, when I played at Central, we never lose a game. Even when we went to Inter Island, I think our first 3 years at Central High, when it was Pidy, myself, Nemi Williams, a young lady named Rita Joshua, and Dr. Nilsa Bob. That was
which Williams?
Huh?
Nemi, you said?
What? Nemi was a serious power forward,
Okay, I didn't know that. Wow. Nemi was volleyball. I didn't know that.
No. If you want somebody to sit down for 5 minutes because of a shot, elbow to the ribs, you got to pull Nemi and not person.
Wow.
You hate it, but Nemi are tough.
Yeah, man. Yeah, tough on those boards. Even in traveling to St. Thomas, we didn't lose often. We didn't. We're very serious about the game. Hazard was the type of coach. He screamed a lot, but after a while, we just used to just look beyond the screaming and just try to see what it is he was trying to teach us. And so when I graduated from Central, I graduated in 81, and I went to Fisk University. So I went on an academic scholarship, and one day I went to the gym, and they had they send out the stuff for tryouts, and so I went and I tell them I'm here to try out for the team. And so the first thing they asked me once they heard how I speak, they were like, "Where you from?" I said, "The Virgin Islands, St. Croix." "Where is that?" And I'm trying to explain to them, and the coach asked me, "You sure you know how to play this sport?" I said, I think so. I think so. And he said, "Well, are you here on a scholarship? Are you on an athletic scholarship?" I said, "No." He said, and you want to try out for the team? I was like, yeah. And so I try out for the team, and I made the team, And so my freshman year, I didn't play a lot. Just watch, and I just observe a lot. And the one good thing, when I first started playing at Fisk University, we used to scrimmage against Vanderbilt, which was a Division I team, but we were Division II. And they used to beat us mercilessly, but you learn. And I tell people all the time, a lot of times people look at when bad things happen to think it's really bad. But for me, losing to them wasn't a bad thing because I learned so much. You know, the foot movements that I didn't learn when I was in high school, you know, how to really post a person up. And because when I got to Fist, they wanted me to play. First, I started playing point my sophomore year, but then the team they were short. And so they were like, no, we want you to play the three. And I was like, I said, okay, you know, because I have no problem. I think they were just more like, you know, every time a new class come in, they're like, that's the girl. She didn't get here on a scholarship. She was a walk-on. You know, they call me a walk-on. And so, you know, I always worked hard. I worked hard. One of the things my mom always taught me, you know, if you're going to do something, do it right. And you just got to put your all into it. And so by my senior year at Fisk University, I was captain of the team from being a walk-on.
Wow.
And to today, and I was in Nashville about 3 years ago. The only championship we won was my senior year, 1985. They won the Division II championship. And so I did that, you know, and came back home. So that's basketball. Now,
but quick question, Ms. Bonds.
Yeah.
Did your senior year, did they end up giving you a scholarship or you just stayed as a walk-on?
No, I stayed as a walk-on.
Oh, wow.
I stayed as a walk-on, and I know she's listening. My mom paid for me to go to college. As a matter of fact, when I was a when I was a junior, all of my mom's children were in college. My sister was working on her master's. My eldest sister, my other sister, she was in undergrad, and I was in undergrad as well. You know, and so, yeah, my mom worked 2 jobs, and she worked hard to ensure that her children had a better life than she did. And she says it to us all the time. You know, she says, I don't ever want you guys to know what it is to be hungry, because she knows what it is to be hungry. Right. She knew what it was to wear, like we don't call hand-me-down, like going to the thrift shop, you know. And she never really wanted that for us. And so she, you know, always worked hard, and then she taught us to work hard. And my mom was like my biggest fan, you know. She was a kind of a mom to you, and when she come in the gym, you know, everybody know that that's your mother. When you make a shot, 3 plays afterwards, she's still screaming. That's my daughter, you know. So
I have a great question before you go into softball.
Go.
How was women's sports in basketball in your time, and how was the atmosphere?
That's a good question.
Well, the atmosphere back in our times, they really didn't highlight women's sports, because I'm talking. So I went to Central in '76. So '74, I'm talking about being in junior high, going to Fisk in 1981, and you know, it was the girls just trying to take the boys. Everything was the men. But the one thing I would say though, if there was a WNBA back in our time, for sure, I know for sure, she would go in the first round. I'll probably round 2 or 3, but I would have been there. You know, and the one thing let me go back to high school. I never felt a way playing in the shadow of Heidi, you know, because I recognized from back then that this sport, this is not a one-man sport. And you could have the best person on the team, but if you don't have that person to complement them, you're going to lose games. You know, and I used to say I was Heidi's Scottie Pippen when she was Jordan. You know, and I recognized and understood my role and was good with it. I was good being a point guard. I was good ensuring, you know, making sure people get the ball and we do what we need to do. I used to consider myself the conductor. So, but you wanted to ask me something.
Yeah, because obviously Central didn't really have no competition since the new school wasn't built yet. So let me jump back to junior high. Did you play against Spidey at a lower level? Who was your competition?
No, we never played against each other. Ain't that amazing? I think one time in the woman league, when they had the woman league, we were opposite teams. But other than that, from junior high all the way through high school, we played together. But in open league, then we played against each other maybe once. And she will say different, but I know my team was the victor.
What team was that? Where was that from?
I can't remember the team, but it was man, I forgot the coach too. I'm seeing his face right now. I forget the name, but I still got a trophy in my office down at church.
I didn't even know you guys had a women league because
Yeah,
last
we
year
had,
we
we had a couple
started a
women.
women league.
Yeah, and they were good. They were really good. But like everything else, it starts hot, and if you don't stay at it, then it falls apart. And it really wasn't the push for women's sport. It was always more men. And then we women, we start getting cute and we want nails and hair, and we just stop fooling with it all together.
Yeah, they are more attracted to the volleyball realm, but the basketball, in terms of now, the women's sport are starting to rise again, which is good to see.
Oh
COVID
yeah,
kind of put a damper with us, but women's sport is back on the up.
yeah.
So bad Mumba.
No, so going Central, you said you graduated in 81, correct?
Hmm.
How? Because during that time they talk about the boys team as well too. Did their success overshadow your high school, your team success?
Not really, because I'm telling you, when people saw Heidi come on the court, she just brought a level of excitement to the game. Heidi was like dunking it like when before we reached Central.
Wow, that's crazy.
Crazy.
Like that's why I'm telling you. So, like you said, Tegan, right? We had no competition, but this is what used to happen, right? So when we play at school like Good Hope or Country Day, if they scored 2 points, we were getting suicided of the whole team.
Wow. But
So
Hazard was a wicked man.
Yes.
what happened? Boy, it's like, I remember this so clearly. One time we were playing St. Joseph and they scored like 8 points. I mean, it was like 95-8 or something. And Hazard was mad. He was furious with us. And we were looking at each other like, this dude is a sick dude. We don't beat this team so bad and you still trying to punish us? Hey,
Yeah.
but the
Those were the
competition.
good old days. Now you can't do that because they will fire him. But those were the good old
Yeah.
days.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but when we went St. Thomas, the competition used to be very, very tight. But we always had that. We had the edge, man. Heidi was. I'm telling you, I ain't saying it just to say it. She was excellent. She was
Who was your
excellent.
rival at St. Thomas?
Yeah, naturals, just natural talent. Stayed on the court. So I played two sports. So I was back and forth. But Heidi, all she played was basketball. One day she tried to play softball, right? And I was like, Heidi, you need to keep playing basketball, okay? But yeah, she brought a different look to the game because she was just that good. And so people, especially when St. Thomas came over, like, the gym that be packed back then. I mean, now Tegan, that's how it used to be back then. The difference too was you had more parent participation. Like when the teams, your parents are in the stands. And when the parents come from St. Thomas, it was rough. I know she didn't want me to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. One time my older sister were playing against St. Thomas men and they had undercut her, and she messed up her knee. Man, my mother came out at the stands with her high heel shoes, man.
What?
It, brawl. You hear what I say? I know
I wasn't playing.
I get put out of my house tonight, but oh yeah, man. Because the girl did it intentionally. My sister was just that good. Yeah, she was like 5'4", but she was kind of like a Spud Webb Tegan. Like what? She was quick. Yeah, man, she was quick, and that jumper that release was so quick. Even though she was short, she was on it. And actually, that kind of damaged her scholarship. Because she got a scholarship to go to Jackson State, and she went on crutches, and
Oh
it just
man.
yeah, it killed her career. And it was the summer before she left. And I remember I was a little girl, but I remember my mom telling her, don't play in the summer league. You get a scholarship, just rest yourself. And
Yeah.
but she was a lover of the sport. And yeah,
Competitiveness pull her in. Yeah.
yep, she went there injured, and that was it for her athletic scholarship.
What about your journey? Were you ever offered any scholarship? What was the reason?
Well, it was either academic. I was trying to go where I could get the most money,
Mm.
So and then I wasn't really trying to go to college, but my mom was like, you're not gonna stay here and do nothing. So when my stuff for college came like last minute, and my mom didn't trust me, right? That 2 days after I graduated from high school, I was off this island. I'll never forget. I graduated a
Wow.
Tuesday, and a Thursday I was on my way to Morgan State to a summer program for pre-med, because I went into college as a pre-med student.
Mm.
And then I went on to FIST. But I looked. I had so many opportunities. Even in playing the sport, I was able to meet. She later became my attorney. This young lady, God bless her, she passed away last year. Her name was Tracy Christopher, and she played for Duke. Played for Duke University. She
Wow.
was a point forward for Duke. And when I started coaching my own teams at Pro B, I sat with her, and she kind of like told me some of the plays that they did when they were at Duke, and she wrote it out for me on paper, and that's what I use for my basketball players. And she came in kind of like what you do, Tegan, really teach them the fundamentals, the foot movement, and that the rest was history. I get the same talk they give Phoenix. I always beating up on people's team, and I don't, everything for me is win, win, win. But my why would I train children? I used to be a hard trainer. Let me talk about training for the basketball for my team, right? I used to go on Saturdays. Well, I would have them after school. So I would practice after school, make sure they do their homework, take them home. But on Saturdays, I used to take them to Penny Beach, and I used to have them run in the beach. Because that Penny run is like 2 miles.
Yes, sir.
And, so that's what I'll do. And then they would swim. I'll take them, we'll go get breakfast, and then we go practice on Saturday up to Pearl Beach. And the first month, they never even shoot the ball. They used to be like, but when we gonna get to shoot? When you get conditioned, it's hard to teach elementary children about conditioning, but you just had to make it fun. And so I used to, and Tracy used to come, and just a lot of the skills that they did at Duke, and she used to spend quality time with Coach K, and so everything that she learned, she passed it on to me, and I was able to pass it on to my team. And so, it wasn't so much that I had better players, because you had other teams that had real good individual players. I just had a team that understood the sport and could play it as like 5 people playing it, and not just I've never had one player just stood out like the last play, the ball going to them. I never had that on my team. You never knew where it was going to go. And I loved it. Makil used to play with me before he started playing on my softball team. I hear a lot of people taking the credit for Makil. Makil started playing softball with me at Cordelas, and let that be known. But
We
yeah,
are
even
coaches when he come on, so he'll definitely big you up for that.
yeah, and even with coaching young players, I had a boys and girls team. Basketball, we never lost a game. Never in my 12 years of coaching program. boys and girls, never lost a game. We went to a tournament one time in St. Thomas, and I was the only female coach. And when you come with a team and they see a woman, it's like, oh yeah, them there.
They ain't ready.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Oh man, I wore them down. I wore them down. I kid you not. The championship game, I beat the team by 52 points.
Wow.
Jeez.
And here is the thing. So when the team had to travel, right? Hey, God is good, The first time I ever preached was the Sunday when my team was traveling to a tournament in St. Thomas. And so I had to send the team ahead of me because I was like, I got to preach, And I had a 15-year-old, a young man. His dad used to play basketball back in the day at North Fredericks. His son name was Kaleem. Kaleem was 15 at the time. And his mom was one of the chaperones. And I sent him, a 15-year-old, forward with that team. And they won the game by eight points. That is the same team I turned around and I beat them by about 52 points in the championship game.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just understand the children understanding the game, knowing where to be and what to do. And like when I was on before Tegan, and that's why I admire you so much, Tegan, because you take the time to teach the sport.
That's the number one thing, and that's what everybody should know. It ain't about the final score.
I really gotta big you up because you travel the world, and you come back and you're so humble. I remember when I was telling you someone about you, and then they met you, and they were looking at you like that's the guy you were talking about, and I'm like, yeah, this guy has played, I think, on every continent, but he just so humble. You see him with the children. Some people, when they've been around and they've made a mark for themselves, you can't even have a conversation with them. And I've always admired that about you again. So I thank God that you made a decision to come back and give back to St. Croix and the Virgin Islands. And it's a great thing. And we got a lot of athletes here in the territory. We got a lot of raw talent.
Yep.
Just like you said.
You made my night tonight. I feel good because I don't hear too much of that at St. Croix. So thank you, Pastor.
No, it's the truth. I remember one time I was at in the States, and I was, everybody was talking about Timmy Duncan, and I said, yeah, I love the guy, great young man. I said, but you know how much better talent we had in St. Croix than Timmy Duncan? They looked at me. I said, I used to referee in Chabot when Timmy first started playing basketball. And let me tell you, that eye-hand coordination was, when I tell you off, you hear me? And then I look at other people like, the Swansons, even, him, his boys, but then it goes back to being able to learn the sport. It's a mindset that goes with being a great athlete. But we got a lot of great athletes here. I just truly believe if our government will invest in the future of our athletes. And you go to any other Caribbean country, and I tell people, listen, I have traveled. You go to any other Caribbean country, when they talk about sports, tourism, or sports, or their athlete, when they say sponsor, that's what they do. Okay? They take care of them for them to get to their next level. Sorry to say it, we jump on the bandwagon after people have succeeded.
That's true.
Yeah, that's
so but you gotta, if you want to see the best in someone, you gotta invest in them. Just like China. And I was actually watching a documentary the other day, and they were talking about how China and Russia, how they choose their gymnasts. They looking at your family history. Sometimes they say when the babies are born, they go just looking at the form and the shape of babies that were just born, to target them to be a gymnast. That's serious. You know,
That
I ain't
is
saying we got to
serious.
be that bad, but I mean, you see a young person and you see the talent. Why not invest in it? You can't wait until they're in high school. It's too late because by high school you have developed so many bad habits.
Yes,
If
true.
you don't have a coach, if you don't have a mentor, you develop so many bad habits that if you try to change it by the time you get to junior high, I mean, it's too late. It's too late. And so, that's why I like teaching on the elementary level because I think at the elementary level, they if they want it so bad that you can really get them to do things that they don't really think that they can do.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
I'm
I
telling
agree.
you,
I
I
agree.
realized until after the fact that I had them running 2 miles in the stand every Saturday. Because to them it was a big joke. Who go down first and come back first, you're gonna get something. There was always a reward. And people say, oh, you shouldn't be rewarded. They say you gotta use what works. As long as it ain't illegal and it ain't immoral, you gotta figure out what it is that you can do for the children to get them to where you need them to be.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Yeah. I mean, I know we're talking about sports, but it just hurts me, man. As a pastor now, and how many funerals I'm doing for um, black men just falling in our streets. It's heartbreaking, and it's heartbreaking because some of these boys I coached them. Some of them I taught them.
Yeah.
And then you look today, all of my mom's girls were teachers. So I had a sister that teach at Lumoco. I taught at Proby, and then my sister, she taught at Elena. And, so somewhere or the other, they know you, or use Miss Platt's sister, yeah, yeah. And then, the parents calling you to ask you to bury them. It's a sad state. And right now, the big question has to be, okay, I understand COVID-19. I know we're at a stay at home. I get that. I have no problem in following the rules and the laws. But when we really look at sports in our territory, we have fallen off so bad,
Mm-hmm.
so bad. I do have to congratulate this present administration for sports park and recreation, the division, the people that they have hired um, to run housing park and recreation. And I ain't trying to say this for no cool. It's just a fact. It's a fact that prior to COVID, the housing, sports park and recreation was moving in a very positive direction.
Yes, yes.
But
That's
prior to
true.
that, we had fallen off. I mean, it's heartbreaking. Sometimes I go and I look at a girls' basketball game in the gym. Me and Pidy sitting down next to each other. We're like, are we serious?
Yeah, it's bad.
Are we serious? This is you
The boys
got
them too. Don't just single out the girls them. The boys them
dribble with
too.
the left hand.
Yeah, there's bad
You
all
know,
around.
So I really, my hope is to really just be able to make an impact as far as sports is concerned. After all this COVID and all of this, Pidy and we just keep sitting down and we keep talking about some things we want to do. And I think we're going to just have to get to the point where we just got to do it. Both of us are now retired. And so we're going to have to just do this before we turn 70.
Well, you hit on something that I really want to touch Mumba real quickly because you spoke about burying some of the kids them, the young men them that you actually raised doing sports. So now you see like the stuff that's happening in the mainland, police shooting guys in their back, and now the whole sporting world is going into pretty much protest. So it's no sports right now. What is your apostolic sermon about what's going on? Do you have something like spiritually you can give to us as the public, coming from a pastor's point of view?
Well, let me tell you the biggest piece for me is when a nation turns their back on God, they open themselves for bad things to happen. Let me just say it like that. What we're seeing now, I mean, it's so funny because my mom preached it maybe like 2 Sundays ago, is the sins of our forefathers are catching up with us now. Because when you look at what's happening, the riots what they had back in the 60s and the 50s and the 60s, what our ancestors fought for back then, it's like we're fighting for it again because something happened. And I am, listen, I would Bob Marley all the way. Everybody want peace, right? We want peace in St. Croix, we want peace in the States, we want peace in the Middle East, but nobody wants justice. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. You can't have peace until you have justice, just rightness. Our minds have shifted from a brotherly love one to another to, how can I make myself better than you? How can I get a better car than you? Or how can, we have shift our focus to material things and things that are vain. And it speaks of it in the scripture. And so that's why you can look and people say, well, there's good and bad in everything. Don't get me wrong. I look at and some of the things I see on TV, I say it has to be more to it than that. Because I was a military police, so I recognize too that you gotta be careful when you're watching news because it's about entertainment and about numbers. But when you see a person running off and you shoot them 6-7 times in their back, right? You say, okay, something had to have happened before, but it has to be, guys, it's a shift in your mind that you think is okay for you to do that as a police officer. It's a shift in your mindset. And I tell people all the time, whatever gets in your ear and it gets in your head, it gets in your heart. And from the abundance of the heart, you speak and you act. And we've been hearing a lot of, there's so much racial tension in our nation right now. Okay? Everybody's crying out. Everybody feels like they're entitled. I'm sorry to say it, but there's some people that are not of our color that are now still thinking that we're still 2/3 of a human being. And that's an issue. And that's a problem. And then the minute you try to stand up for yourself or for what you know is right, then, they this and they that and they paranoid. No. I still with Bob Marley, you crying out for peace, but you will never have peace until there is justice. Some of my colleagues in that are pastors will probably be like, oh, that's too radical. No, I try to always speak truth, because when you go into the word, there were always wars, there were always uprisings, because people always feel that they have to have power and control over people. But that is never what was designed. God said that man's supposed to have dominion over fishes in the sea, fowl of the air, and everything that creepeth on the earth. It never said to have dominion over people. Never. And so when people look at you and they say, well, and I've had it happen to me. I lived in Nashville. I was the first female black truck driver in Nashville. Wow. And when I went to try and get that job, I remember the secretary said to me, she said, you will never get that job. I said, why? She said, she was laughing. She says, you're black and you're a woman.
That's crazy.
Like, that will,
And she didn't even care to even mention that. She just mentioned that straight to your face.
She said it to my face. He said, two things you got going against you. You are a woman and you black. When that young lady, and she was black. The person I was talking to, she was a black woman. When she saw me driving a UPS truck, that young lady started to cry. She said it had never happened in the state in Tennessee, Nashville proper, and so and then the other thing is, guys, we got to see ourselves for who we are, because some of us mentally we still enslaved, T, and I like you. I had to tell the truth, and then people will get mad, and then I really don't care, But to shift our mindset, because you can't want to say you are all of this, and then everything your dependence is always on government and what can be given to you. That's a kind of mental slavery right there that we gotta rise from it. And we got to be careful of what's even going on in St. Croix right now. I tell people when they tell me about this lady and talking about your beach and putting, if it's true what she said, talking about putting bullet in somebody's head, she got to be careful who she say that to, because I tell you what, that's a threat.
Yes, it is.
That's a threat, and I will say it, and I make no. I don't throw stones and hide my hand. The government, the Virgin Islands government, they need to get control of that and get the control of that quickly.
And imagine she didn't even own the property, and she already thinks she was empowered to do and say these things. So that's a double one.
Listen to me. I am 56 years old. And I remember the tension in this territory. And I remember what happened after Fountain Valley. Okay? I was a little girl. My mom worked for the prison. And I, to today, I could still understand and feel that unrest. We don't want to go back there. We don't want to go back there. And a lot of times, these things continue because when these things happen, they start talking it, we don't address it. We address things after something happened. And that's part of the problem too. Even with what's happening with these young men in our streets. Parents know what's going on. Uncle know, friend know, buddies know, but we don't say anything. If you can't talk to your loved one, shame on you. You ask any one of my nieces or nephews, I tell them certain things. They can basically get what they want from me, but I tell them, I catch you, find you stealing, running drugs and all of that. When they come for you, don't call me. Do not call me, because you have the ability to work. And the minute I start seeing them in certain places, I call them. My nephew is maybe 40, 41. And he knows. When I call him and I have a certain sound, he knows. You come see me. And when he comes, I told him, I don't care how old you are. He has his own children. When I tell you so and so, it's because I'm speaking from two places, from a spiritual perspective and from a person that knows. Stay away from certain places. Stay away from certain people, because your company is going to determine your lifestyle. You see, if you hang with 5 thieves,
it's true.
When they thief, they going with you, because guess what? What will make them think that you ain't a thief too? And we're not talking. We're not talking to our young people. We don't have outlets for our young people. I remember when I was growing up, you had leagues in Saint Fan, you had leagues in Harrigan, you had leagues in Chabot. I mean, you as a young person, you used to be so tired because you were playing so many games, so many places. You didn't have time for all of this what you see now. But when you idle.
So here's my thing though. Here's my perspective. I'm gonna give you a little bit of my perspective. I would like to hear your input about everything that's going on, because everything you're saying is absolutely true, and I support everything, all the movement. Police shooting black people, the NBA now going on the strike, baseball is following, a lot of the other sports are following. Okay, so now we hold in the strand. We hold in heads on one thing. We want to see change. Okay. Now when we get that change, it shouldn't be all over, because really and truly, most of the change that we need is in our own community, just like you described. Our young men killing each other. They have so much shooting in Chicago. You got 8-year-old baby gang killing Atlanta. Now the NBA players them now have to go into those communities and start telling our young men them, put down them guns. We only killing our own future. Why don't we have more of that? Why don't we have more people, just like we went to the ladies' beach, which is all good? Why don't you come out and let me get to this community and tell these young men, look, you are our future. So in general, it's like you say, we have lost the own love for ourselves. For some reason, we find power to go after issues out there, which is true. That's a historical, spiritual, slave mental history that's still in all of us, and all of we to feel it. But man, we can't lose our children because we're too scared to get out there and tell them they're doing something wrong. And I think that's the next step for we as black people, and for we as a people who want to rise. We have to start looking out for our own too. Because the best way to show the other side, if you we go call them that, just to preface that, it's to show that we love each other. But if we don't show that we love each other, why do we think they are going to show that they love we?
That's it right there.
It's a mindset. It's a mindset. And that's one of the things. We're not even teaching our children that we love them. We don't, and I don't have any children of my own, but I've raised 8. And when I mean raise them, I raise them for real. Like, they live in my house, left my house, went to college, come back, But there's a couple things I did in my house. One thing that we did when I had 4 of them at one time, and we started our day with prayer. And everybody had a day. It was this one young man. You knew when he was his turn. It was 5 minutes and we were done. We had time to go back and lay down and then get back up and get our day started. But you had to know, you had to pray. We had to express our love for each other. I had 2 boys and 2 girls I was raising at the same time. And so I paired them up. If the one got in trouble, both of them had to pay. So you teach them to be each other's keeper. They really couldn't understand at the time what I was doing. But now that they're adults, they get it. How many of us would tell, a young person or player, I really love you. They don't hear that. And so when they don't hear that in the home and they go in the streets, and somebody say, man, I love you, I'm going to take care of you. And they buy them a pair of sneakers and they, that's how it starts.
Yep.
I remember when I was teaching program, I had a student in 6th grade. And, one day I did like a triathlon. So I had a swim, they got bikes and a run. And that was part of what we did, for like a recreation. And then afterwards, it was like a beach party. He was a 6th grader. And he was like, Miss Barnes, how much money you need? And I was like, what? He said, how much money you need for the food and salt? This is a 6th grader, He was trying to bring me $300.
Wow.
This is then, I started teaching in 88. So this is probably like 89, 90. A 6-year-old bringing me $300. I was like, where you get this money from? A good man. He wanted to buy like new sneakers for all the players. And I'm like, so of course you're not going to his parent. And I'm like, he have like 300, he brought $300 to school,
Well, I said, if we're looking for a way to fix the GRS, we need to find that young man.
But here's the thing. When you go to the parent, the mother was just laughing. She was laughing. I was like, this is not a joke. And then, just started talking about some things. And I told her, I said, what are you doing? They're going to catch up with him. It's going to catch up with him. And guess what? It caught up with him.
Eventually.
Exactly. So what it was, she knew that he was running drugs. She knew. How you gonna be sixth grade try and bring me $300? Like, come on. I was making $327 every 2 weeks. Okay? And so when you don't address that from that age, when you're making them think that that is okay, that's gonna become a habit, and then it's gonna become a lifestyle. And so we just got to talk to them. I will tell you, I raised eight. The one, he was incarcerated. I have another member of my church right now. He's incarcerated, but I'm going to love them where they are. But the point is, you can talk, you can lead them, but they're going to make their decisions. You understand? But the question is, like you said, Tegan, who is talking to them?
That's right.
When you have seven,
the end of the day, sorry, go ahead.
And they cussing bad word, and it ain't cute. When you don't address it there, when they become 12 and 13, then they fighting you. Listen, as a pastor, I've seen so much. I've had to physically deal with some of the young men in my church. Because when their parents call me, I'm like, what? Oh, she tell me so. Man, Tegan, ask Danielle. You gotta love them, but you gotta give them and you gotta tell them the truth. And that's the thing. We're not telling our young people the truth. You cussing and these young ladies all unseemly. It ain't cute. You ain't cute. It ain't right. Hey, the Bible says, "Have I become your enemy because I tell you the truth?" Sometimes the truth hurts.
Yes, most of the time it hurts.
It saved my life though, because I always had mentors in my life. I mean, we haven't even talked about softball yet, but I've always had mentors in my life, always, and outside of my family tree. I've always had mentors, and that's another thing that we don't have in our communities anymore. We don't have mentors. We don't. It's like we don't have time for nothing. It's just like the struggle continues. Like we gotta make time. We gotta make time for our young people, as we're gonna lose a generation.
Well said. And I think it's starting, and I think like a lot of things you say is the pursuit of greed. Because every generation is a reflection of the previous, and with everybody now just trying to get along and trying to make all this money, we keep forgetting the young people are watching.
Yeah.
And now that every time I listen to the radio, it's always something. There's nothing for the kids them to do. It's nothing. We always have something for the kids them to do, but the parents them are not supporting these kids the way they should. Just like we talk about. They've been basketball, softball. There've been a lot of things to do. Do we need more? Yes. Do we need more attention? Do we need more arenas and stuff like that? Yes. But at the end of the day, I work with kids damn all my life, and sometimes either be in camp having to wait for parents to come and pick up their child. The parent won't come. I'll drop the child home, and you got about 5-6 car in the yard, and nobody even come and pick up the child. They ain't even come outside to see who drop home their child.
Exactly.
So where's the care factor? Where's the love? And this is reality. Until we start showing these kids that type of love, then we ain't gonna be able to change their mentality. And right now, I just see the kids them acting out because they've been searching for that love. And when you have a broken home and you can't find it at home, you go find it on the streets. There's many people I meet on the street that say, "Hey, don't do that. Don't smoke that joint there. You go into college. You leave that alone." These people ain't my blood, but they look out for me, and I respected them, and they keep me out of trouble.
Yes.
We don't have that no more. We don't have that no more.
Yeah.
Well, Beanie Pang has been gracious to bless us. Beanie, welcome, my youth. You can't hear me. Fabulous. Well, he ain't set up still, so it's all good. So take us into your softball world, because we want the softball people to really get their view, because a lot of softball players is also in the Virgin Islands.
So softball. I started playing the sport 7 years old. Uh, Used to go up to St. Farm to the recreation, and they had a league. And one time I was playing, and Eugene Thomas, he came to the game, and he saw me playing, and he knew my mom. So he went to my mom, and he told my mom that he wanted me to play on his team. So my mom said, "You want to play for you?" He said, "Yeah." That's how I was introduced to Eugene Thomas. Um, Genix is, he's like the uncle that I never had. Um, the last time I was on the show, I told you every summer, Genix would come for me on his lunch break, take me down to the park in Frederickstead, hit 200 balls to me, bring me back up to Peter's Rest, get out from 5 o'clock, come back and pick me up, and then take me down to have practice with the whole team. He taught me the game. He taught me. Not just, I mean, he even taught me how to store a glove, how to oil a glove, how to take care of your spikes. But the one thing about Genix was he was tough. And that's another thing. People, you talking to my child too rough, or when my child come home, they don't be tired. Anything worth having, you gotta work for it.
You have
And
to.
that's another thing. Our society, is like, well, let's let the children then participate. Well, anything I do, I try to be the best and I try to win. I'm just a winner. I am not I don't just participate. I want to be the best that I can be in whatever I do. And I think Phoenix instilled that in me from a very, very young age. And so I started playing for Genix, and then they came up with this Cinderella League. And so the first year we traveled. We traveled to Corning, and we went with a team. And first round we were out. We lost, and so came back and went through the season again with the same, more or less the same team, just a different coach. And that's why I tell people a lot of times, you can have the best of players, but if your coach co-op, your team gonna be co-op. Okay? We went with that same team back to Corning, New York. The only team of color. We won every award that could be had. I sent Mumba the picture when we had on with our uniform when we were up there, and then when they had picked the All-Star team. And some of the highlights of that trip, I said it the last time, Genix, he would always have me sit right next to him, and he would say, if we were watching the game, and he would say, well, Mona, we're playing them there tomorrow. You see this one? Dari got to throw it in and tight and low, and while all the other players, they're running around, I would be right next to him, and he got into my head. Eugene Thomas got into my head from a very young age, and he gave me the thought that anything I put my mind to, I could do it. Listen, when Genix tell me, he said, we're going to beat them. He said, we're going to win, I believed him. And so he used to use me to then go and tell them what he told me. I said, let me tell y'all something. We're going to win this tournament. And it goes back to, and I'm going to jump in and out, because the scripture says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. If you think a thing long enough, you could do it, And I think that's what Phoenix used to do to the end. And so that tournament, I said it before, I must say it again, I don't know of any other team from the Virgin Islands in any sport that have gone to a national tournament and have won the tournament and every award that was presented. That team did it. We did it. While we were there, just some of the things Genix taught me. Sometimes you're looking at other people having fun. All the other teams, they had a pool party. Everybody else was in that pool except the VI team. And we were marginal. Don't get me wrong, because we young. Well, we want to have fun too, and Phoenix is like, Mona, that water is gonna get him quiet. Believe me. And he tell me, no, just think about when you used to go to the beach and then you go home, you'll get sleepy and you get tired. He said they're gonna be tired tomorrow and we're gonna be fresh, we're gonna beat them. I believe him. I believe him,
I'm living
and
proof of that. I'm living proof of that.
yeah, yeah, I think it was either the second or the third game I had messed up my ankle. I listen, I believe so much in Genix that they have put a cast on my ankle, like a soft cast. We cut that off for me to play. I cut off the cast and Genix wrapped my foot. When I put my foot in the spikes, right? It couldn't lace up.
And you
That's
played?
crazy.
That's
And I
That's
insane.
played.
crazy.
What position?
Wow.
Okay.
First?
What
Huh?
position? What position?
Well, when I first got the injury, we had the next day I think we had a bye, and then the next game, Genix told me to play right field. Cause he was like, I wanted get, I wanted, I wanted guess, I wanted mess up, I wanted to keep moving it. Um, but then when we started going into the championship, because then we had lost a game, so it's double elimination. So we had lost a game. And so we had to win the next two. And Genix just wrapped that ankle, Mr. And I came off crutches and catch 2 games. Back in my head. Because you feel the pain afterwards. But what I loved about Genix was everything, and I think if there's anything in the sport that he had within him, he gave it to me. And so even when I started coaching my softball team, I used the same tactics. I used what I learned from him. I was sharing with Genix the other day, even when I went to the military, because when after I graduated from college, I really felt I needed some discipline, and I went to the military. But the military taught me a lot, but I was able to succeed in the military because of what Phoenix had taught me. You just gotta be your best. You gotta bring your A game every game. You never underestimate your opponent. He used to tell me that too. Don't underestimate your opponent. Cause you could have a bad day. Your pitcher could have a bad day. Your shortstop could have a bad day. You never underestimate. Like sometimes you look at some team and you go, "Oh, we gonna beat them, man." And then when you come with that mentality, they're saying we're gonna lose anyway. So, but they giving all that they got. We second guessing them, and then you end up losing by 1 run. It's crazy. So I have always had that. I'm like Genix. If it's competition, I'm going to win. Now, if it's a celebrity something, that's different. But and I remember one time this lady she got real upset with me um, because they had a lead, right? And the team that won, the award that they gave them was the award that they gave everybody. And that's I was like, I ain't feeling that. You telling me these children work so hard, they become the winner, but everybody get the same trophy? I was like, that's foolishness. This is
That is foolishness.
again. That woman, she pepper me. I said, like, what are you saying? You're saying to the children that you don't have to give your best, but you gonna still get what the best get. No, no.
Wow.
They get trophy. If you want to give them something, give them a certificate or give them a ribbon. I mean,
So
I feel like now. More money than you are doing.
Mona, it was requested by someone viewing for you to name your teammates that went on a trip to New York.
Oh boy. Okay, so let me see. Darrell Barnes, I have the book in front of me, but I know Darrell, she was pitching. We had Genix niece, Didi. Didi Thomas. We had Sherry Simmons. Woo! We had Doreen Barnes. We had Magda Santos. We had the girl Benjamin. I can't remember if Titus was on the first or the second team with us. You got it. You got it. Thing. No,
They put you.
yes.
They,
Gary Doreen.
Wait.
Nadia Dickerson. The coach was Genix and Donna Samuel. Who am I missing?
I gonna pull up the pic. I don't know how. I don't know how I get blamed for this one, but I wasn't even born then.
Man, they got me going way back now. Let me see.
Yeah, you got Karen Titus, Doreen Barnes, Sylvita Brooks.
Yes.
You said Magda Santos. You said Didi Thomas, yeah, Nadine Brooks, Gloria Sains, Lois Benjamin.
Yes. Diane Edwards been on the team too.
So, yeah, you did good though. That's good. You remember a lot.
You know Diane, right?
Yeah, man. Diane still to be crazy in the gym. But I love her to death. She don't play. And that's a parent who don't miss no games.
Exactly.
She always at all her kids then games. She, Denisha, they are true fans, like true parent fans. They'll go softball, volleyball, baseball, basketball, and they work. Time for their kids. It's like, I don't know what's going on with the rest of the parents.
Some of the members, there was the first time they ever been on a plane. I remember Doreen, my cousin, that was the first time she been on a plane. And what happened is, because I was at the tournament last year, I went ahead of the team. I remember that. I went ahead of the team. So I was in Corning before the actual team got there. And so Genix was telling me, man, when they were flying and they had a little packet, Doreen said, "Well, we just went over a speed bump." Oh yeah. Listen.
Oh God.
That's funny. That's
then the next time they asked, because that was, I know for sure, my cousin, I could talk about that. Doreen, that was her first time on a plane, and so the first time too, she's like saw like a train and stuff like that, and
what plane was that? What airline? What airline was that? American? Southwest?
No, Eastern. I think it was Eastern Airline or Pan Am. It was either Eastern or Pan Am. And so they asked her, like, if you want to go on a trip, and they said, where you want to go? She said, I want to go from anywhere to anywhere, because if I could have flew, I would have flew. Listen. When she said that, everybody were watching. She like, oh my gosh. But I mean, you got an experience, It was a beautiful thing. That tournament was a beautiful thing. It really was.
That was beautiful.
Were you the captain of the team?
I want to get.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, no, I wanted to get Pang in because I know Pang came on, so we wanted to. No, we want to get Pang in. So go ahead, Pang. I know you came on late, so.
But she already answered my question. I was asking her if she was the captain of the team.
Yeah, Genix had a way of getting me to get them to do what we needed to do. I would say a lot of the players on the team, they kind of looked up to me, and I've always find myself in that kind of captain or leadership role. I could get you to do things that you don't want to do. Really, I think part of it is it's a calling on my life. I think it's part of my purpose of why I even exist, is to just get people to their next level. And so, even at church, when Daniel started drumming for me, Tegan, he was 11. He's 11 years old. He's self-taught. He he just used to admire another one of the young men that used to play and just watch him, and then he had to go away, and he asked me if he could just go on the drums, and I actually gave him a drum set to take home and practice.
Oh, nice.
And I told him, you could do it. If you want to do it, you could do it. Just go on it and practice. And right now, Daniel, he just graduated from Complex, he used to play for Tegan, and he's my senior drummer. So
Very disciplined young man. Him and his brother.
yeah, the key actually his brother
Super
is,
disciplined.
yeah, but his brother is the one that takes care of all the music, all of the equipment. And they've been doing this from a very young age. And that's another thing. We got to give our young people an opportunity. Like Daniel, he beat up a couple of the drums now, Tegan. So now that he working, I tell him, when you mash it up, you're going to pay for it. I mean, because when he play it, he play it. But, we had to give him an opportunity. Sometimes they make mistakes. And I think that's the other thing. We don't allow our young people to make mistakes. They're going to make mistakes. We forget.
We made mistakes.
And what we did. And now we want to do this and you shouldn't be doing that. But you got to remember what you did. And it's called mercy. So that tournament, Genix, he just had a way. He had a way. When we lost that one game, he made us, right after the game, he made us go and practice. And we practiced with no glove. And the people that we were staying with, they felt that was like so cruel. But his thing to us was, if you could catch the ball without a glove, then you'll catch it with a glove. And we had lost that game 1-0. And but he just had a way of making you believe that you could be the best that you could be. And we were successful. When we came back, and I remember it like today. They had a big motorcade down to Frederickstead to the ballpark. And I didn't even know he had that many convertibles in St. Croix back in that day. We were in convertibles. I remember I was going through Grove, blowing the hand, and then when we were coming into Frederickstead, the people were cheering, and when we got to the ballpark was packed. You were like a celebrity. We were like big time, Serious.
Here's a question, real quick. Do we have a VI softball national team?
No, I am not sure. I think the person who will be able to answer that will be Sherry, and I'm sure she's listening. I don't know if they still have a national team. And that's another thing that gave me the case one time, We say we have a national team, but we don't want to include all the islands to make a national team. So what kind of team is that?
Yeah,
I remember one time we were going to a tournament, and it was like, no, we taking the team gonna come from St. Croix this year, and then next year gonna come from St. Thomas. And I'm like, but if it's a national team, we're supposed to be taking the best from the Virgin Islands, putting them together, 100%. Practice as a team, and then travel. I remember being on a national team, and they were all Crucians. What kind of national team is that? And I remember when I was on that softball team, I was maybe like 13 or 14, and we had traveled for a tournament in St. John. And I was so young that I remember Sherry Mother, Bodell Simmons was on the team, Virginia Santos, Magda Mother was on the team. And I was so young that somebody had to stay home with me. Donna Samuel, who was our coach, she was on the team. And somebody had to stay home with me because, they were going out, dance or whatever, but I was too young to go. I remember Donna stayed with me, So I traveled with the All-Star team from a very young age. I even remember that tournament. I didn't start. And it was the 7th inning. I remember it. Two outs, 2 man on base. And so I'm sitting in the dugout, and Genix said, he called me, and I was like, yeah, like, I think he called me like to maybe pick up a bat or something. And Genix watched me dead in my face, and he said, you won't pinch hit. And I was like, what? And our Felix said to me, he said, Mona, you could do it. He said, drive the ball up the middle. I was like, okay, if that's what you believe, so you gotta remember now, I like the youngest at the team, okay? And maybe like the first two pitches, I don't remember what I did, but I know I remember him calling timeout, and he called me to him. And he said, you think you could do this, or you believe you could do this? He said, because I believe you could do it. It's up to you to believe you could do it. Again, he got in my head. I drive the ball straight back up the middle. Base score, game done.
Wow.
That's the kind of
the power of GX.
Telling you, man.
We get some questions here from some of the viewers. Sherry asks to ask you about the dress Doreen wear to the banquet.
You know what? Sherry trying to get me in trouble. Well, hey, the most Doreen could do is love me, right? So this is I can't remember the year, but it gotta be in the 70s because I know I was just going Valley High School. And like I told the last time I was on the show, I told her everybody was staying with different people. And so when we see Doreen coming. I know I am maybe too young to know the Tegan and Mumba, but back in the day, had a Bata shoes. And everybody used to get their school shoes from Bata. So they had like a rubber sole. It was like kind of like suede leather on the top and then like rubber to the bottom. Doreen coming her Bata school shoes with this long gown with a buckle strap up in the back. Listen. And it was like brown. So she's dark skinned and it's brown. Man, when we see her coming, we were crying. We were like, yo, where you gone? So just picture wearing a formal dress with school shoes. Yeah. So that's why Sherry told me don't worry, Sherry. I remember what she wore. Yes.
Of course, how everybody probably just regular casual.
That was a great trip, though. It was a great trip.
Yeah, that's
sad.
So there is a. Oh, go ahead, Pat.
No, I was just gonna ask. One of the things I was thinking of, like as an adult, I learn a lot from sports. Like, give me two characteristics that you learn in sports that you use in your daily life, that you took on to use in your daily life as an adult.
To stay disciplined and be honest. Honest, and be true to yourself.
Definitely.
Yeah, I believe that. I think sports has taught me discipline. Just how to be disciplined in my everyday life, routine, whatever I practice, that's what I become.
Right.
Because one thing first is a habit, then it becomes a lifestyle. So the thing that you put your mind to and you spend the most time on is what you become. And that's why I love children, but this thing now of everything is electronic and everything is taught from a screen. I have a problem with that because it takes away from your ability to truly interact with people as human beings. I think that is missing as well. The ability, to hug and to embrace and to really show your true self to someone. It's easy for me to say I love you, but when you say it, do I know it? And from your actions, can I believe it?
That's facts.
It's true.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's true. And that's one of the things. Virtual thing. That's one of the biggest problem I having with it.
Yeah.
The interaction.
Yeah, you can discipline a child. I discipline children to today. I discipline young adults. and they will still love me. And their parents are like, but you do so and so and so and so, and he didn't get back to you. I said he didn't because he knew what I did to him is because I love him. And it's not because he thinks it, it's because he knows it because I've built relationship. Him over. I build relationship with the young people in my ministry. And so like I was telling you, Tegan, that when one of Tegan players, he didn't play well, and I was in the gym, and he felt like he disappointed me. He texted me 2 o'clock in the morning. Really sorry, Pastor, I disappointed you. I'm gonna play better tomorrow. I just was, I was out of my game. I wasn't focused. Blah 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 blah. Because he knows my love for him. He knows that I put off something to be in that gym. Because I told him I have to do so and so. So when he saw me, he was like, okay, my pastor really know me because she in the gym. She here. And that's what it is. You gotta show up for young people. You gotta make them know that you care for them. And not just by saying it. You gotta invest your time, you gotta invest your resources, but more than ever, it's just your time. You know, you just sit down and talk to them and just listen to them. Even though they're telling me now, Tegan, they're telling me now I old school, but they still want to talk to me though, because I know my purpose, and I don't run from it. I know my purpose is, my mom would tell anybody, the elderly and young people. Everybody in between, they'll figure it out.
Right.
These people, I love them.
Yeah. Real quick shout out to Marcy. Marcy says she's part of us, so big up to Marcy. Complex monitor.
Okay.
So big up to Marcy.
Oh, for sure, Marcy.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Also a Simba.
Yeah.
Lots of love, Marcy.
Yeah, man. Lots of love. So there's another question here. Which one sport you prefer playing and coaching?
I prefer playing softball because I truly believe I was better at it. I prefer to coach basketball because I think the science of the sport I learned more. So I believe I became a better basketball coach, but definitely a better softball player.
And then this is another question we have here. Would you come out and coach teams again?
Yeah. Yes. Like I said it earlier, this is something Heidi and I, we talk about all the time. We actually wanted to start like a girls trip camp, just teaching them the fundamentals, teaching them the game. But yeah, I truly believe that I will start coaching again. I do. It's in me. And I've said it long enough. And Tia will tell you, when I come in the gym, I go on like I'm a coach. So
Yeah, she's into it. She's really into it. This is the blood. She can't run from it.
Trust me, I love the sport. I love sport. Like I was telling you early, Mumba, I don't really look at the NBA no more. There's nothing to learn. It's just straight entertainment, and I ain't got time for that. That's why I would look more at college, and I would tell anyone that was trying to learn the sport, don't look at the NBA. Look at college if you really want to understand the game. And just look at one player that you kind of think you kind of have the style, and then look at the things that they do, and just it'll make you a better player. But
facts. And NBA has destroyed the kids. The other day I had leaving my kids them house, and I saw a little dude. He ain't got basketball rim, but it was a good moment though. But you could just see how they'll lock on to some of these players, and if they don't pick up on the good habits, they're picking up on the bad. But he's shooting on the roof. He letting the ball bounce on the roof, and like all his shot going in, and he turning wrong, and he doing like throwing up his hand like how Steph Curry to just shoot and turn around and pull up his hand like this and go down to his knees. And Tegan, I mean a spitting image of what Steph Curry to do. And I could just imagine this young, even though it was like a good little moment, like to see that's what he's doing, regardless he have a rim or not, he's still out there practicing. But he ain't practicing the right things. You know what I mean? It's more about the show than if the shot went in, if you got a proper farm, or it's more about the show for he. But it's just how these kids, they just lock on to their favorite player or any player, and just pick apart all the moves. And the NBA today, the moves that they'll be doing, or the things that they'll be doing, is not discipline at all in the NBA. And these kids ain't getting coach discipline. They ain't getting disciplinary coaching. They ain't getting disciplinary viewing. And you said the perfect thing. If you want to learn the game, watch college basketball, because college basketball still, they run plays. If you ain't screening right, if you ain't in your position, you ain't where you need to be, you're on the bench. You know what I mean? College still have that a little honesty of the game, but NBA has no honesty of the game.
Well, I can add a little bit to it. Well, I saying is both right, but I'll take a different viewpoint in saying the younger kids that need coaches like us to tell them they need to watch college, because if they don't have nobody else to watch, they'll always go to the highest level. But what they don't understand, when you watching those guys at the highest level, those guys have put in so much time to perfect the move that you're seeing. It might look like a style move to you, but to them, these guys don't dissect all of these moves, practice it a million times, done this fade away a million times. So the work has already been put in at the highest level in order for them to perform these moves. Whereas somebody who never even dream about going out there shooting the same shot 100 times, for instance, now want to come and do it in a game, of course it's going to destroy the game, because they don't know what it takes to be able to perfect that shot. So
Right.
I think you need more guidance in terms of telling them nothing is wrong with you idolizing someone who you see in the NBA. You want to be like Steph, you want to be like that, because at the end of the day, all of we want to get to the highest level. But how do you get here? This is how you get here. You got to do this way, follow this step, watch college, know how to set good screens, know how to do and that's what's missing. They are missing all the steps and jump into the elite instead of understanding there's a process and a way to get to that level. You ain't just waking up and go to the NBA. That ain't happening.
Nope.
So that's the only thing I will add.
Yeah, it's definitely disciplinary is missing, and you're in line when you said we got to be the one to teach them. And right now, it's not fun to watch basketball, the NBA. I don't watch halfway through every game, and just wait for the next game. Yeah, and just wait for the next game to come on, and see how this game looking.
I'll wait until the end of the third.
Yeah, out of the whole entire playoff, the only series as good as Denver Nuggets and Miami move on now, but Miami Heat's and the Denver Nuggets and Utah, and Miami Heat's and
Really
Pacers
good. Yeah.
was the only two good series. All the other
I think the
series
intrigue with Clippers will keep you watching. It's not as good as everybody think. Same thing with Lakers and Portland. It's not really good basketball, but the intrigue and the teams, everybody's just gonna watch. But
Right.
them last two Lakers game was pretty boring. Lakers
Absolutely boring.
last night. I fall asleep so much time in that game. The blow. It's crazy.
In the Utah and Denver, they run plays. They rely on each other. Like they play hard. They play hard defense. Same thing with Pacers and Miami. Like
Yeah.
Miami probably have a better team, even on paper, but there's no giving up in the Pacers. Like there's not one star on the Pacers. They all make contribution, and those are the best teams to play for. When there's no superstar, you just have a system.
That's it.
And everybody
I
running
would
the
add,
system.
I would add in Toronto too. Toronto plays very well on both sides.
Yeah, they just don't have the competition that they need right now with Brooklyn. Brooklyn trying their best to hold. Well, they was trying their best to hold on, but they were outgunned.
Well, we ain't got no NBA.
Growing up.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Mumba.
No. Go ahead. Finish. You good?
I was gonna tell Pam. Well, right now we ain't got no NBA because the man then walk out. We ain't really know what's going on. I don't know if he was here to hear Pastor Barnes take and everything. You have a take on that?
I didn't even know that they walk out. I heard Van Vliet mention it, but I didn't know that it actually happened.
Yeah, no games played today.
Oh, I did not know that. I've been. That's why I was late. I was locked in on work. Today was a rough day, so I walked all the way up until I took my daughter home and I come back to sign on the podcast.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll
so
talk about that on another. Maybe we might do a preview show because tonight is about Pastor Ban, so we don't want to take the focus away from Chico much. But that'll be a topic maybe we can discuss in terms of what's our idea in terms of what the NBA trying to accomplish from this boycott. I mean, because at the end of the day, when you do something, yes, we're trying to bring attention to police shooting black people. Yes, we understand the focus, but at the end of the day, now that we have done what we said we are going to do, what we really want out of it. Because if we don't get out of it, then your protest is null and void. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
So that's something we can discuss in terms of moving forward.
Yeah, we definitely discussed that. We have a question here, Ms. Bonds. What made you go into ministry?
So when I was like 12 years old, I went to a service, and it was this pastor that told me, he said, he saw where I was going to be a pastor. So I looked at him and I laughed. Because, at 12, number one, I was just going to church because I didn't have a choice. But you know what? It was just destined for me. I never wanted to be a pastor. I always know that there was a force greater than myself. But it becomes those things where you just know that I just knew that was a calling on my life. When I turned maybe like 27, and I was told, I always used to pray and I used to say, God, if I live past 27, then I know you have a plan for me. That's why when you said this is a 27 episode, I laughed within myself because I got my life on track at 27. And my birthday is December 27. And,
Wow.
so 27 becomes a very significant number for me. So when you said the 27th episode, I said, God, in my heart, I was like, God, you're real. I just know, there's just some things in your life that you know that you're called to do. And that's what I do. And I tell people all the time, people think ministry is when they see me, because for those of you that don't know, our church, we stream. And so people think ministry is just getting up every Sunday for 60 minutes and speaking from a couple scriptures and some nice songs. And, that's not ministry. Ministry is like in my last 2 weeks, going one with families that has lost a son to gun violence, going to the family of a person that was actually someone that did kill a person, and then going again last week, to another family that lost their son. The mother is calling for me to come and minister to her. That is what ministry is. Ministry is, I'm in my bed last night and then I find out that one of the young people of my church almost drowned in a pool, and they're calling me because he's on the way to the emergency room. And so, I got to get up from the comfort of my bed and pray and believe and trust God and talk to the family up until after 12. Because, there's social distancing, you can't go up to the emergency room. But if you could, I would be there, being called and being told one of your member husband has the coronavirus, and he has to be quarantined, but yet still I'm going to talk to him from the window, from the room in which he's in, and praying through the window. Ministry, I finished preaching on Sunday and people are in the parking lot and they still want you to come out and pray and speak to them and become very personal, working with families where you have the victim and the perpetrator, and the families are very close and trying to bind them together to come to some consensus before the funeral. That's ministry. And that's my life. I think this is something that I was born to do. And I just believe that God has called me to help people to get to their next level. And I think all of the things that have happened in my life, because my life has not been, people think I like silver platter. I come from a single parent home. I was a latchkey kid. People say, you're telling people your business, but I come from that being, molested as a young girl. I've had so many experiences in my life. Like I tell people, if I wanted to be bad or say I'm bad, I would have all of the reasons to say it because of the things that I've experienced. But I believe that everything that I've experienced in my life gives me an opportunity that when I speak to people from a perspective of what I've experienced and not just what the Bible says. It's one thing to give people the word, but God is good and God is great. Yeah, well, how do you know that? Why are you able to say that? And so I think with that, I'm able to do that. I will tell you, I love what I do, but it can be very overwhelming. It can be very overwhelming when you continuously listening to people's pain and their suffering and their hurt. After a while, you start to take it on, And but I thank God that I have a very balanced ministry, and so I have a lot of support. My mom is the visionary of the ministry, but we have a lot of young men in our ministry. We have a pastor, a male pastor that's a young man. He's military. He's not from the United States or VI proper. And so he's come from very humble beginnings. And so when he speaks to the young men, he speaks to them from a perspective of, he has a picture on his phone that he shows them. This is the house I used to live in, and this is where I live now, and just put stuff in perspective. And so there is nothing else that I would rather be doing right now. So I think I have found my purpose and just trying to do what God has called me to do in this time and in this space.
Before you before and that is beautiful. Before you became a pastor, because you mentioned some particular traumas that you came from.
Mm-hmm.
Did you seek the word of God as a form of therapy, or is that how you got involved, or were you always in that environment?
But no, when some of the tragic things happened to me, I was very young. I was very young, like 11. But I had a mother that always taught us to know who God was, But at those ages, you're not really paying attention. But it's like anything is like I said earlier, you keep hearing something spoken to you. The Lord is my shepherd and I shall not want. The Lord's Prayer. You keep saying it goes into your mind, then it goes into your spirit. You begin to believe what it is that you're saying. And I think I've always been around, we've always been religious. I think I have grown into understanding kingdom, which is very different. And kingdom says, if you are able to love others, watch this, the way they want to be loved, not like you want to be loved. Because you know how people say, there's a saying that oh man, it just went from me. Love me the way I love you. Well, I use this example all the time. I'm a very touchy and huggy person. I know some people, they're not like that. So if I tell you, I want you to love me the way I love you, well, if you're not touchy-feely, that's not what you want to do. And I think when it comes to friendship and relationships, because we don't take time to figure out what makes the other person happy, we become more concerned about what makes us happy, and we assume what makes us happy makes everybody happy. But it doesn't mean that, I like crowds. So from small, I used to like parade, and I like the gym with a whole lot of noise, and but I have a sister, she preferred to stay home and read a book. So when I'm saying to her, well, come go with me, to the gym. If you don't come, you don't love me. Well, I'm trying to get her to do something that she doesn't love. I got to be able to love and respect that, even though she doesn't love crowds. I could still love her and find the time to sometimes sit with her and just be quiet, and not always want her to always do what I want to do. So the one thing in ministry I've learned is you love people where they are. And that's another thing. We try to make people what they're not. Everybody's created in the image of God. That's what the word says. And everybody has their own mindset, and there are no duplicates. Everybody's unique. They're one of a kind. Even if you have twins, they're different. There is something about them that's different. And until we can appreciate people for who they are and not what we are trying to have them be, until we do that, we're going to have a hard time with this thing called love.
That is true. Real quick, Alvin Bach, say hello. Alvin? Bach.
Yeah, that was my student.
Say hello. Yeah. He said hello, and your goddaughter Tiara, she says she's very proud of you. So
Yeah, I love her, man. That's what, like, one of my Tiara is like one of my oldest godchild. So she was my godchild from the time she was in the womb, and now she's a young adult that actually has her own business. And I am so proud. Oh yeah, I am so proud of her. She's the only child, and she's just a blessing. She really is. When she told me she had her own business, I was like, yeah. She was like, yeah, and then she was telling me about. She's the one that introduced me to Facebook, and she was telling me all these things that you can do and stream and blah blah. She's the one. But yeah, I love her. I love her, and she's a very good businesswoman.
Yeah, definitely big up. Definitely shout out and big up to her. We have a question from one of the viewers.
Okay.
Before going into ministry, did you want it to be something before you got into ministry? Like what you wanted to be?
Well, when I first went to college, I went as a pre-med student. I wanted to be a doctor. But when I got to college, trying to be a student athlete and being a pre-med student, it was very hard. And so I switched from being pre-med and I went into psychology, kind of staying in the same field. But the one thing I always wanted to be was in the military, and I always wanted to be a sergeant major. And so I was able to do that. I was actually the first female state command sergeant major in the Virgin Islands. And actually, when I became that sergeant major, I was the third in the 50 states and territories. And that was back in 2010. I always wanted to be my own boss. And so I had an environmental company for 17 years. And so, I have businesses now, but I always wanted to be a sergeant major, and I was able to do that.
Well, how did you transition from to the army? Like, how was that straight out of college?
Yeah, I graduated in '85. And there was a recruiter that came on campus, and I joined right after graduation. The military, I actually had 4 disciplines in the military. I had a 28-year career. The military was very good to me. So I was a medic, then I was a military police, I was an instructor, and then I was a chemical soldier. And like I said, I did it for 28 years. I loved it. A lot of the children in the ministry have followed me, and they have gone into the military as well. But I tell people, the military, they will take care of you, but you got to understand that you're actually putting your life on the line for your country, and that became very real to me when I deployed. And I went, after Iraqi and enduring freedom. And that was another experience. And, CNN don't tell it out. I'll leave it like that. But
I can second that because I went to some of those countries.
Yeah. So, but everything that has happened in my life has made me, I believe, who I am. I had a teacher that told me I would not succeed. She told me when I was in 10th grade, she said I will never become nothing. And it stayed in my head. Yeah,
That
it
is terrible.
stayed in my head. And when 30 years after graduating from Central, they asked me to be the keynote speaker. And I told the students that, and when I said it, you would be, I mean, the graduates began to applaud. And I said to myself, that's because teachers are still doing that, you know. And for some children, it takes them, they go south and they never recover, and others do like me. I use it as a platform to say, I'm gonna show you, I'll show you, you know, and she really thought she was doing me a bad thing, but she really did me a great thing because it forced me to say I'm gonna prove her wrong, and I believe I did. I believe I did.
Around there.
One, I think you mentioned it. It might be the definition because you said you was a medic and you was a military officer, but you said you had four disciplinary. What is that? What is the disciplinary?
So 4 disciplines. So I had in my 28 years in the military, I had 4 different jobs. At one
Gotcha.
time I was a medic, a medical personnel. The next time I was a military police, and then I became an instructor, and I ended up as a chemical soldier. And so
Oh.
that's even with this coronavirus, I have my own opinions on certain things, but you know, again, the news media, I think people must always understand whether it is Fox, CNN, MSNBC, it's all about ratings, it's about numbers, it's all a platform of what do I do and say to get the ratings that in turn gets money. I'll just say this and I'll be quiet. If you're driving in your car with a mask on and you're the only person in the car, you're wrong. You're wrong. You know, just think about it. Take a handkerchief, tie it around your head, talk for about 20 minutes, breathe in and out, and then what starts to happen?
You got shot up, Brett.
And when you exhale and when you breathe out, you're breathing out toxins. And when it's trapped in a cloth or what, you know, or some kind of fiber, and then you rebreathe that, what are you doing?
You're breathing it back in. You're making yourself sick and weakening your immune system.
So, you know, I tell people sometimes you just apply common sense.
So here's my thing with that, because I've been telling a lot of people we need to do our own research and stop looking for everybody else to give us the answers. Because when you're saying that cases are doubling and the cases are doubling in the Virgin Islands, is anybody tracking the fact that because we're wearing these masks for such a long time, that is weakening our immune system? So when you do get in contact with this virus, it hits you like what? Is there any studies on that? Nobody ain't studying these things. Everybody is just saying, wear your mask, wear your mask. Look, if they come out tomorrow and say we need to wear Pablo bag, a lot of people are saying go a dead bag.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and that's the one thing. You know, you gotta think. Yeah, I respect people when you say you are Dr. This and I have no problems with it. I don't have no problem with title. I don't, you know, I was educated as well. I have none with college and degrees, you know, but a lot of times we don't think about what people are saying. We just hear people talking, but we don't stop to listen and think about what they're saying. We just look at them. Okay, it's Mona Ban, she's a pastor, and she said God says stand on your head, so I don't stand on my head. You know, and that was one of the problems when I first became part of the clergy, because they would say a lot of things, and I'm like, where does it say that in the Bible? Well, it ain't really there, but that's what it's implying. I'm like, how you figure that's what it's implying? Like, no, you have to give people a truth and let them deal with that truth. You know, you can't wear jewelry. So I'm nothing against religions. If you don't want to wear jewelry, fine. But you can't tell me because I put 2 earrings in my ear, God don't hear my prayer. Tell me where that is in the word. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because a certain person say it, then they say it's gospel. You can ask my members, I had to tell them when I preach something, go back and take a look at it. Go look at it because listen, I'm human just like you and subject to error. But you got to think about what people saying. I don't move with the masses. Like how some people, anything, any new thing come out, they run behind it. I don't do that. Something just got. So then you got to take a step back for a little while and take a look at it and say, let me really see what they say. I tell you what, I got a mother. She's gonna be 80 in about 2 weeks, and I ain't got she running around with no mask 24/7. Period.
It's crazy.
Okay?
And real quick, I want to get this stuff out here. Andre Titus Jr. said he's proud of you, on your accomplishments. Also, I think I lost the other one. Oh, jeez.
Do you remember the name of who it was?
And then, no, my it's freezing up. Yeah, Akil Johnson said, "Tell Apostle Bonds her city of refuge family watching, and we love her unconditionally."
Yeah. That's another one of the young men from my ministry that's making an impact in our community. Just I'm telling you, and that's the next thing. And I don't mean to say it like this, but I ain't got a lot of old people in my ministry either. I got young people because we've had also this teaching that we make people think that living and loving God is this hard thing, like he's a hard taskmaster and he just ready the minute you do something wrong to just bossy in your head and that's not it. I tell people you can't scare people into heaven or scare them out of hell. You gotta love people where they are. You gotta tell them the truth that and let them find their way. And the relationship with a man or woman with God, it's personal. It's personal. This thing of you gotta do what we say and no. You have your own relationship with God. I tell people the Bible, it's a guide. It's a guide because things that are happening today, you can't find it in the Bible. Back in those days, they had no cell phone, they had no podcast, but guess what? They used to get information out, right?
Right.
But the way they did it back then, we can't do it like that now. So it's different. So it becomes your personal relationship. I just tell people, I just try to love people, and then sometimes it ain't always as easy as I'm saying it, because I know everybody that know me don't love me, and that's okay, But as long as I'm true to me, I gotta be true to myself. And I'm not trying to be nobody else. I ain't trying to be TD Jakes. I ain't trying to be Juanita Bynum. I ain't trying to be none of them. I trying to be who I am. Mona Barnes. This is who I am. People say, oh, you're a pastor and you to be in the gym. I have people from the clergy that they'll be like, how could you say you're a pastor and Saturday night before you have to go and preach? I hear you to be in the gym. And
so what that mean? That don't make no sense.
Some crazy people in this world, brother.
Yeah,
this is crazy.
And they really feel like and this is clergy. This is my colleagues that I'm talking about. This ain't just normal people.
But that goes back to the point that we're talking about the disconnect with the youths and the adults.
Listen,
because now you have an opportunity to connect with the youths. They are telling you why are you in the gym.
I got to give you this one, Tegan. So one Sunday I had an offering up at my church, right? I won't call no names, but there were some people that came to the service and they were godparents. And after the service, like maybe like 3 of my members, they were like, Pastor, you okay? And I was like, yeah, what happened? You saw that, you know who that person was? And I'm like, yeah, you know, but like, do you really know? I said, I don't really know, but I have an idea. I said, but what's the point? What's your point? Well, suppose somebody come and shoot up the church. I was like, because what? Because a certain person come into the building? I tell them, you gotta love people where they are. It doesn't matter what people say about the person or what they think. The person that's come into the ministry, they've come for a event, and I gonna put them out because of what people saying? No, no. You ain't scared? No,
Wow.
no. You just got to
Talking,
love
talk,
people.
talking about the ministry, we have a question here from Latoya. What is the vision for your ministry, and how does that connect with our community?
So the vision for my ministry is, and we've already started it. We started where we have a home for the elderly. We're also going to be building a school, but it's more. I want the school to be more catered to young men, like an all boys school. We have a section where we're going to have like a rehab. And actually, I was talking with one of the senators. Well, not one, a couple of the senators, because we have the property. The church has 18 acres of property, and on it we are going to be have like a rehab. But before it was for like unwed mothers, rehab for people from alcoholism and stuff like that. But we're gonna shift it a little and focus more on mental health, because mental health is a big, huge issue in our territory. So those are the things that we are focusing on right now. I've been asked to reconsider after this COVID and everything, to go back to having our summer program and after school program. Because at one time we used to cater to like 225 children. 13 years, we did that for 13 years. And our ministry did that at a loss. But I mean, it's okay, because really we were able to see young people just get to their next level. So it really wasn't a loss. And so those are some of the major projects that we're planning to do at the church. Of course, Chigan, in between the basketball is going to be involved, because if anybody knows our ministry, the building that we're in right now is actually the gym. Is the gym for when we build the school, because we haven't built the church yet.
Oh,
Of course, sports, but right now, building the church is not the priority. The priority right now is getting the school and the ability to help the homeless and finish the elderly complex that we have. So we got a lot of work to do. We are going to get it done. People said it cannot be done. And every time you tell me that it cannot be done, you fuel my fire. Because when I told people I was going to build a home for the elderly, they were like, well, how are you going to do it? I said, I don't know, but God going to do it. And we actually got a grant. I got a grant writer that was a member of the church. She wrote a grant to her, and we got it. We got $2.4 million. And now we have, the 14 apartments for independent living. It's never empty. Some people always say, they don't know that, like, we don't know you guys doing this stuff. I would tell you the things that I don't do for sure. Some people, if they plant 2 coconut trees, they want to go and everybody know that they plant 2 coconut trees. That's not my intent. My intent is to do what I think God has called our ministry as a whole to do, and so that's what I do. I do every day.
that's beautiful.
That's amazing. That's beautiful. Yeah, amazing.
Do you host?
We have.
I know you say you have a. Sorry, Mumba.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I know you say you have a gym. Before COVID-19, did you host any basketball leagues in your gym?
No, the gym is what we're using for the church right now. The building itself is as a gym, but we're using it for the church right now. But
Gotcha.
before, we have a basketball court on the outside, and so they had kind of started. I mean, I don't know if Biggs.
Yeah.
I had allowed Biggs to use the court he had a league within the Barron Spot area. And then a couple times we've had like inter-church competitions. And so we did that. But what I'm working on right now is I have a couple members of my church now that actually play the sport. And so we were just thinking about this, doing like clinics for the children, and then just teaching them the sport as they grow.
Yeah,
You know, I did. So
I
just
miss
call
the
me. I
church
come in.
leagues.
Huh?
I, s- I said miss church leagues. Church leagues used to be so much fun growing up.
Yeah, yeah. But you know, the only thing that used to happen is all of a sudden people used to have members from the church that never come to the church, but they go to church that Saturday so they go play. You know?
Wait, hopefully most of them in for Hurricane and stuff for rally.
Yeah, it became
Whoa, whoa,
that
whoa,
become
whoa, whoa.
competitive, and so we now become this honest. All of a sudden,
This
T
dude
Daddy is a
whining.
member of the church, you know, and he playing on my team, and you're like, okay.
A
But
lot
some
of
of
them,
the
a lot of them went after. Don't feel bad. They used to play without lead.
The
Yeah.
disrespect is real over here.
some of the church league used to
Oh my
they
God.
used to allow two non-church members on each team.
Let them know. I know I play on a couple of them. That court, what that church name? Church of God. I played by Church of God of Prophecy before. I played by the Seventh Day Adventist right here, the one that burned down in Peter's Rest. And like I said, they come over by us a couple times, but so you know, those things we really need to bring back, and those are the things that's gonna draw young men to the ministry. Because what happened is when I had the basketball court I have now, when the guys started coming to the court, I was like, I ain't gonna charge you a fee, you know, but you just gotta come to service once a month, and they used to come. You know, and some stayed, and then others, you know, they didn't. But I mean, you could still see them on the road, and they could be like, "Yeah, remember, I used to come. I come to your church because I used to play on the basketball court." You know, so yeah, at the end, you just show love to people. Then,
Right.
I just told
Talk
them the profanity, I wasn't having it. You know, and everything you gotta have rules and you have to have order, and I did that, and it was okay.
talking about that, we have a question from Kerrian. Do you think some of the issues the VI is dealing with in terms of crime and lack of recreation is due to churches being less involved in their communities?
I agree. And I say it all the time. I say to my members, the community really, the community should not be going to government. They should be coming to the church. But because the church doesn't know its role in its community, that's the problems that we're having. The church is who is supposed to have activities for the people of their community. When there is a need, when people are hurting, they're supposed to be coming to the church, not running to government, But like I said, we have lost who we are. And I say we because, I'm part of clergy. And so I tried to change that. Our church, right after COVID, we did a feeding for all the first responders. We took food to the hospital. We had a drive-through for police and fire to come through. And so these are the kind of things. Our church has always been known, like Thanksgiving. We would go in certain parts of the community and feed house folks when there's no place for them to sleep. We've been there and done that, but I would have to admit, and including City of Refuge, we've moved away from that because, but we're coming back now, but we've moved to it because we began to try, and like I said, again, Tegan, here I go. We start trying to look like how American church look, lights, camera, fancy chairs and nice podiums, and then we slack off from open air. We find an excuse not to go in the projects anymore. We find an excuse not to go down in Times Square. We find an excuse now why we can't feed on Sundays. And so, our visionary, which is my mom, she's tough. She's tough, but she knows. My mom is, our church made 33 years of ministry on the 17th of this month. And so she's been through a lot, and she's saying to us, we gotta come back to what we knew ministry was. When someone is hurting in your community, they should be able to come to the church, not to government. That's our responsibility. And can't speak for other ministries, but that's what we're trying to get back to.
Somebody had asked a question earlier. I don't remember your name, so I'm sorry, but I do remember your question. They asked if you would ever run for senator or any type of political stance.
So I ran for governor back in 2014, and I lost miserably. I will tell you that. Would I ever run for the Senate? No. Because the Senate right now, the way it is set up, it's not set up for success. It's 15 people fighting against each other, and that's why they can't get anything done. But you could never say never. When I first ran for governor, I really thought I had something to offer. I still think I have something to offer. I see government like a real one of Genius good teams, You just got to get the right people in the right places doing the right thing. And that's what's missing. And until, I look at the Democratic, the Republican National Convention this week, I look at the Democratic last week. It's just a war. Until we can get together and understand that we have to all be doing the right thing at the right time in the right space, it will be problems. I could never say never. If I do run for governor again, do I think I have something to offer? Of course. Do I see some of the ills that, and it's not, and I said it when I ran before, and I'll say it again, it's not money. It's not money. There's money. Don't believe them. Don't believe the hype. There is money.
It's money.
It's the management of the money. And people are saying, oh, you're just saying that. Well, I was part of the MAP in his cabinet, and I was a director. And as much as we say they have no money, for 2 years, 3 years, at the ending, we were sending back money. Why were we sending back money? Because you got a pot of $100, right? I just put it in simple terms. You got a pot of $100. You got 4 companies. Everybody's entitled to $25, but you give it in the first quarter, they only get $2. And then in the second quarter, you get them 3, which is $5. And then in the third quarter, you're trying to get them to spend $20 in 90 days. Whereas if you had given them the money where they could have used it or enough for them to use it up front, they won't be turning it on the back end. And that's there's so much red tape in government because there's been so much corruption over the years in government. And I'm not talking yesterday. I'm talking from the time I was 10 years old, 11 years old, and Wang Louis and Cyril King's campaign. That happened in my mother's house. That's where they used to meet. I remember as a little girl watching Cyril King and Wang Louis sitting at our table, our dining table. I always knew what they were talking about, but I knew it was politics, and I knew they were running for governor and lieutenant governor. And so over time, because you have people that are not doing the right things, you start putting all of these stop measures to try to create, so they don't make Tegan's mistake. I'm gonna put this in place instead of just firing Tegan or getting the popo to come get Tegan and lock him up and keep it moving. We just put all of these red tapes in place. It takes almost 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks to get one person hired in government. Tegan, you want to government?
Yeah, it took me 9 years to get hired.
Okay.
Don't get he started, Pastor Barnes. Don't get he started.
For you to do a contract, to get toilet paper. It's ridiculous. And it's because of people that in the past that just didn't do the right thing. And now you know how they say you're making it hard for everybody else. And so And that's why, I like private enterprise. You
Who
know,
who was going to be your running mate, your lieutenant governor?
who was my running mate?
Yeah.
When I ran, my running mate was Dr. Wendy Cora. She was out of St. Thomas, a doctor from St. Thomas. Actually, her mom and my mom grew up together in St. Thomas. And I just think we struck a real good balance because she's a very analytical thinker, but it was an experience, and in everything I learned from that experience that people's word are not their bond. They're not. I had people coming to my campaign every day. Yeah, for you, fight for you, I fight for you, and 30 days out, you notice they're missing, and then you go to a function and they have on somebody else's T-shirt. They don't even have the integrity to tell you that this is what I'm doing, and so it's something else,
This is
But
one of the things I have
the
a
government
big problem with
run their
Parliament.
money, like the federal government run their monies, and even they themselves have their issues. But one thing about the federal government, you take a quart from them, they may not catch you today, but you better believe they will get that quart back from you. Oh
Yep.
yeah, you ain't gonna get away. You gonna pay it, or they gonna come get you.
Mm.
So you'll see, you'll see.
Here's one thing I hate with Virgin Islands politics, where I say I will never ever run for politics, man. I'm pastor. I mean, the adults in the Virgin Islands act worse than the kids. And when me and a lot of us who work with the kids, we see where the kids them are getting the influence from. Because coming election time, the Virgin Islands is super nasty, Mumba.
Yeah,
You go to a couple of times, and I can use myself as an example. Because I don't go to everybody jam. I don't care what nobody says I'm a free man and I'm a free thinker. So if Governor Map were having a jam across from Pueblo, you better believe Tegan did it. And if they get out a shot, you better believe I taking one. You know what I'm saying? Then next week,
Yeah.
Alastair and Chucky got one right across from Soniel. You better believe Tegan did it. And Chucky getting up the shot, Tegan got one. Right? Then Albert
Yeah.
Bryan had one by Lorraine. And you know Tegan did it because anyway you got jam, I come in. You know that people went to Sports Park and say, you can't hire Tegan because he's supporting Chucky and he's supporting Fancy. This is this man mentality.
yeah, yeah.
That's
So when you have
terrible,
a
man.
mentality like that where you have to influence somebody, and because they don't see the same view as you, they are not liable to get a job. This is one of the reasons why the young people watch you and say, well, you are just a gang just like me. So if you
Yeah.
ain't part of my crew and I want to go and screw up the whole crew because he wearing black and red, what difference does it make with you not wanting to give somebody a job, not because of their qualification, but because they don't
Yeah.
believe in what you believe in? And that's
Yeah.
sick. And I'm
It
telling
is.
you, I'll have to change that because the kids them watching you. During election time is the nastiest time in the Virgin Islands, man. You
Listen,
ain't want
I
to
remember,
and I can't wait for November because this November I'm gonna be hot. I
yeah.
can't wait for this Senate race.
Listen, I remember,
That, that's sad,
after
man. That's
after
sad.
the
That's sad.
election, huh? No, as you're saying, I remember after the election, the Brian Roach administration, they came and they wanted to do like a gospel concert, and so they had come and they'd asked to use our church because our church is maybe like one of the capacity that we can hold suited what they wanted to do, and so I told them yes. And a very good friend of mine. They came to me, they were like, you gonna let them there use your church? And they beat me up. I was like, number one, the election is over.
How is that different than the
Number
young
one,
people
the
and
election is
killing each
over.
other? That's my point. How is that different than the young people and killing each
Yeah.
other? It's the same
I-
example. It's the
I said
same.
number two is whether you like it or not. Albert Bryan Jr. is the chief in the territory at this time. And so, because he is the chief, he's in command, he comes and asks me to use the house of the Lord to bring people together. And because I didn't vote for him, I'm gonna tell him no. I was like, how do you sound? I said that I have a higher calling to God than to man. And after the election was done, as far as I was concerned, it's done.
It's
You know, and
done.
and people are like, you crazy. I said, if the administration needs something and I can give it to them, I'm gonna give it to them. Why? Because their success is my success. I live in St. Croix. I live in the Virgin Islands. I am not going anywhere. I'm not moving anywhere. And so anything that happens, good or bad, to this territory, I will be a part of it. I said, people, you gotta recognize what you're doing. Like, that mindset is what? Is what? I see some people, they see Governor Bryan and they don't want to respect him as or he my governor. Really? Then move. Then move.
It's foolishness.
The people vote. We have a democracy. It's not like it's a dictatorship. People exercise their right and they made a decision. You now have to find out what it is you do to make it better. This thing of me, I ain't got time for it.
That's you're right.
I don't.
Do your spirituality you don't have to say who you vote for, or do your spirituality influence your votes?
No, it does not. When I decide to vote for someone, I vote on their record. Some people like to get personal. I don't get personal. I look at you and I say, do I think you can do the job? If you can do the job, I can vote for you. Yeah, there's some people that are running right now. I mean, the last election, my younger sister was the biggest vote getter. She was a big Democrat, and people are like, oh, your sister is a Democrat. Yeah, but before she was a Democrat, she was my sister. So what's your point? Like, you can give me a gift on my own sister,
It's crazy.
No, the one thing I will tell you though that I do pray for guidance in everything that I do. That I do. I do pray for guidance, but when I decide to vote for someone, I do my homework just like everybody else. Well, I shouldn't say like everybody else, because some people are vote if you get T-shirt and you get promised a job. So everybody's everybody is different.
Or whatever.
Whoever had the best jump, that's the you got.
I just really believe that God is my source, and I've always had capacity to gain wealth. I've always been a business owner. I've always owned my own business. For some 26 years now. So I don't depend on folks. I know that God has given me a mind and He's given me an ability. And He said my gift will make room for me and it'll bring me before great men. And I believe that. I believe when you are true to self, I believe when you treat people right, then good things come to you. And so I'm a giver.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm a giver. Anybody that knows me, there are people that don't like me. They really don't like me because they say I think I'm all of that. Well, I don't allow people to dictate who I am. I am very confident in who I am. I love me. When I look in the mirror, I say, wow. He was honest.
That's the way to be.
I do the same thing too.
But
Let me just say one thing.
I will give you my last because I don't put value on a piece of currency that I know the value could become zero on tomorrow. By 2050, we will not be using the dollar as we use it today. It will be equivalent to toilet paper. Remember, I tell you that.
Yeah, I done followed it. I surprised you gone that long.
So, but I always believe when you do right, you're gonna be good. It's when you try to scheme and maneuver and do people wrong and you like crab in a barrel, you stepping on people to get to your next level. That's when you're gonna have the problems. And so I tell you, not perfect. And I never profess to be perfect. I too have my faults and my flaws. But there's one thing I know. I know I love God. I know I have a relationship with Him, and He has guided me into some truths that I hold fast to in the way in my life.
Beautiful.
I don't
Yeah,
push my religion on nobody. If you don't get saved, you got to get saved. You got to accept the Lord. That you're going to hell, you're gonna burn. I don't do that. I don't need to do that because the scripture says that one waters and then it's God that brings the increase. And it says it is the anointing that breaks the yoke. It's not me. It is the anointing of God that causes the man to build relationship with me. And so I just do my part. I introduce, I like the best friend. I introduce you to your wife Tegan, or Mama, that best friend that you have. Hey, you need to meet so and so and so, man. She's a nice girl. You need to check her out. So that's what I do. I try to introduce you to my guy, Jesus Christ and Him being crucified, and then you build relationship with Him.
Give me your take. I remember when I used to go to church when I was younger, and sometimes even as an adult. I don't frequent, but I step in every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
But it always seems like when I go to church, the pastor says something that either I did last night, I did the night before, or I the day before, and it just seems like he just speaking directly to me. Like
Because that's not trying to talk to you. Could it just be trying to get you to do something? So every time you show up, he's saying something. No.
I believe so.
Yeah, people say that. I mean, you gotta remember when men and women of God are ministering, it is for an ear to hear. And so when you hear the word, the Bible says when you hear the word and it gets into your spirit, then that's when it begins to take root. So sometimes you'll preach a message and people think you throwing words on them. And I tell people, ain't nobody that important that I could sit down and plan my sermon around you. It ain't that serious. It really is not that serious. And you ask any of my members, I usually get like God will give me a scripture or a word, and then maybe 3 or 4 o'clock that Saturday morning, into that Sunday morning, that's when I wake up and I actually get my message. Some preachers can write out their whole message and then just speak it verbatim. I don't have that. That's not my gift. I don't have that. I can't do that. I usually I could show, if I had time, I could show you my book. When I show people the book of where I minister from, they'd be like, Pastor, you say all of that from that? Yeah. So when I stand before the people, I truly believe that I allow the Lord to speak through me. So a lot of what I say is not pre-written. Everybody's different. I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong. I just know for me, that's not how it works for me. But then people are still say, oh, she been trying words after me because I had tell her mother so and so. I tell people I live with my mom. My mom, she doesn't know what I'm gonna preach. She don't even know the topic. We don't have those type of discussions because my mom, though she be my overseer, she's not my God. She's not my God. And that's another thing I try to tell people. Don't make people your God. Don't say, oh, I listening to she and I gonna do everything she said, because we all are going to error. That's what happens. People will love you, and then when you error, oh, she's supposed to be a pastor. But when they error, they want your mercy, they want your grace. But they hold us to another standard. And to a degree, Amen. But I try to tell people, you got to understand that ministers are human as well. And when we accept the calling, we're not placed in a bubble and nothing is able to buffet us. We're buffeted just like anybody else. It's just that ability to just stay strong and true to what you believe.
Tegan, you were going to say something earlier.
I laugh. Okay? No.
He got shot memory.
No, because she's
So
hitting me
when
spiritually
you
as
get a
well.
chance, man,
So,
you gotta come up. You gotta come up on streaming. It's CRW. You could go to City of Refuge Worship Center on Facebook. We stream on Sundays at 10 o'clock.
okay,
At
put that
10.
up, Mumba. Let
Yeah.
everybody know. That
So
is
you
Yeah,
go
you
to
said City of
You said a city of ministry?
City of Refuge
Refuge.
Refuge.
Worship Center. Yeah, if you type that in, it'll come
Oh,
up.
I remember where we're going to say now. Can I jump in? No,
Yeah, go ahead.
I was like I was telling the pastor, I was telling Pang, I only brought up the when you listen to the radio in the Virgin Islands right now, it's all negativity. When you listening to Sinclair show, Mr. P show, and you hear all the things that's happening, there's always somebody complaining about something, this governor ain't doing this ain't doing this. And when the kids them killing each other, everybody calling and saying, well, they don't know how the kids them getting this mentality. The fact that they don't love each other. Why they killing each other? Because somebody wearing a color of a shirt. This guy wearing black. This guy wearing red. So I only brought up that political aspect to show that the elders in our community act the same way. The only difference is they don't use the power of a gun, but they use the power of scarring you on the radio, stopping you from getting a job because you ain't associated with this party, hating you because you're wearing another person's shirt because you voted. And when you're doing that, the kids them are watching you. You are just like gangs, just like their gangs. The only difference with your gang is you using the power of your mouth. They're using the power of the gun.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for somebody to blame, the way how we act during these election time and these politics times is so nasty that, okay, it is what it is. You got your party, somebody got, but when the election is done, it should be done. You shouldn't be firing somebody who has a great impact in their job and what they're doing just because you promised somebody else another job and he don't know squat about the job. And that happened too many times.
Sometimes I listen to people on the radio, and it has due respect to them. They don't understand the process. They don't understand the process, and because they don't understand the process, they just go on the radio and they just, I say, flap at the mouth. Because I listen to some people, yeah, and I could speak about emergency management. I could speak about that $8 billion that was appropriated after Urban Maria. I could speak the money there, and they're not spending it, but they don't understand the process. They don't understand that FEMA dictates when you get that money. They don't understand that FEMA, 2017 was the first time in the history of the United States that there was a declaration. I mean, since COVID, there was a declaration in every state and territory in the nation. Period. Every state and nation was under a state of emergency. Okay? And they have to understand that FEMA has a pocket of money and it don't just free flow. And in order to deal with all of the different open, whether it's fire, whether it's the hurricanes, they rob Peter to pay Paul. They have to shift and they have to move money. So that $8 billion that they appropriated for the territory, it ain't like you just write a check and they send it down and you spend it. If you say you're going to buy cookies, Oreo cookies, you got to buy Oreo cookies. And if you decide after, well, I don't want Oreo cookies, I want Mona Barnes cookies, you got to go back to the drawing board, or try to go back and do another paperwork to get that Mona Barnes cookie. And so they don't understand that. They don't understand that everything has to be approved by FEMA. I remember when I was at FEMA, sometimes it was taking 3 months to approve $10-15 million. But the people are saying, oh, they got the money and they ain't spending it. And I'm like, if these people only know, if they only know the truth of the matter, federal money ain't easy money. It's free, but ain't cheap. And just like how the president is doing right now with this stimulus package, right? So this is what he says. Okay, I will give you $300, but your state or territory have to match it 25%. So they have to put in $100. If your government don't have the $100 to put, you can't get the $300. But he's making it seem if you don't get it, it's because of your government. But if they don't have it, how are they going to give it?
Trick or treat.
And a lot of those federal monies, they are tied to a percentage, a 75% or a 90%. But you as that state or territory, you have to have that 10% match. And if you don't have it, you can't draw down on the money. And that was one of the biggest things after the storm. See, but people don't know that. You get the insurance money, yeah, government buildings had insurance, then you split it between all the different government, the government agencies. But then to draw down on the federal money, you still have to have match. Okay? So if you want $90 million, right? And they giving you 90%. You still got to find that 10%, which is $9 million. If you don't have it, what you gonna do?
Plant some weed. We got be the positive. I get this marijuana bill going. Look. Let me get this weed going, son. Let me get this on a 10%, son.
Yeah, well, people, and actually, I was talking to a young man in our community about cannabis, and he was telling me that it is very lucrative.
It is.
And so he's explaining to me the cost now for this and for that, and I mean, he educated me because I was like, he was like, this much is like a $300, and I look at it and I was like, that don't look like a lot. He said, no, when you look in the analysis right now, a good joint running you $10. I was like, what? Say, yeah. And then, when they have a shortage, that's why you start seeing a lot of things happening. I say to have a shortage of marijuana. He said, of course. There's some word that he says for it. I can't remember.
The street.
Huh?
That's economics to the street.
Listen, when I want to find out answers to the question, I go to the source. You understand? If I want to find out about weed, I'm going to talk to somebody that I don't know about weed. I'm going to talk to my mother about weed. And I'm telling you, he schooled me real good. He was like, yeah. He said, the other day had a shortage. When he got a shortage, these guys are getting nervous. They get nervous. And I was like, wow. Okay.
Get yourself the blue dream strand. Blue dream, top strand.
But I tell people I'm very rounded. I'm very, very rounded. I can go and talk to Governor Bryan tomorrow, but I can go right down by Sonia's and them guys that they're right there by Aline. I can sit and talk to them too. And I'm the same person. I know how to be to who I need to be to. Anybody. I can talk to anybody. And that's just the way, I just choose to live. Because you up today and then you don't know. Circumstances will have you, people see people on the street and they laughing and joking. It just takes one incident, It just takes one situation. I remember a student of mine, his mom died, his father died shortly after, and he didn't catch himself to today. He's a madman.
That's sad.
Wow.
He's a madman, right? But when he see me, he could still recognize me on his bands and tell me to buy him a soda. But lost everything. He lost everything. He just couldn't cope with the loss of his parents, back to back. And so we really just got to pray for people when we see them on the street. You think people just wake up and want to be walking the street? They don't want to do that. That's a situation. That's a circumstance that they were not able to just work through. So we got a lot of it in the territory. We got a lot of young Black men walking the streets. A lot. So we got a lot of work to do.
I always think about that, when I come home, if I gonna see some of the same people that used to walk the street when I was growing up, walking the street still. And like every time I was seeing somebody new.
And don't get twisted, some of them are very educated. There's a young man that he's homeless. And before we moved to the church, we were at another building, and he was the only person that I could get to come and fix our organ.
Wow.
And he was on the street. He was on the streets in Frederickstead. And when we needed our organ fixed, we used to go and get him. Or if we had a function and we couldn't get somebody to play, we would go and get him, and he would come, play, do his thing. But he was on the street. He's still on the street. Yeah. So,
I got a text for you, Pastor. Stacy J said, "Hey, love, keep up the good work." So I know you know Stacy.
Thank you.
I have opportunity to met her. Very good lady from Houston. We wish them. Yeah, the storm ain't hitting Houston, right? Hopefully. Where's that storm going?
Hey, well, prayerfully it goes away from them, but it's look like it's gonna touch them on the side. But prayerfully, I just pray for the people in Louisiana. Pray for the folks in Houston. Yeah, and that's another thing too that we got to do as a community. We got to pray. People say, "Oh, pray." You got to pray. Right now, our church, we joined with a church in St. Thomas, and for 24 hours, 7 days a week, for the next 40 days, there is someone praying every hour on the hour. It's just important, and it's a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice for us, but we deem that we deem it important. Prayer changes things. A lot of times people can't see it because they can't feel it because in a sense they can't see it. But you gotta pray. It's just like anything. When you think on a thing, you think, you study, your mind is set on a thing. It usually happens. So we are just praying. We're believing that God will just do some great things in our territory, in our nation, in our world. Again, just pray for the young people. If everybody would just do their part, it'll get better. And it has to get better. I truly believe that it will get better. But we just got to stop putting our money where our mouth is. We got to stop putting our time where our mouth is, and just getting the young people to know that they are important and they are special and they are precious, and they become the next generation. So just that's what I do.
I agree. I 100% in terms of the prayer value. I can even go a little deeper because I do a lot of meditation and stuff like that. I just feel a lot of people, especially in the Caribbean and the Africans, the Americans in the States, we don't know our power, because when you read like Deuteronomy 28, and it speaks about the last tribe of Judah who were sold in ships, that's actually speaking about us. And Judah, by definition, means praise. Our greatest strength is actually praise.
Thank you.
It's me. I studied this thing. In those days when they marched, their greatest struggle wasn't the struggle of a gun. It was praying. So the power and the Spirit of God came. And after that movement, that's when they moved to take the prayer out of school. People never asked why they took prayer out of school. They took away our power of prayer. And because we have lacked that understanding that our definition in terms of who we are as a people is prayerful people. When we lose our power, that's why we don't know who we are. And that's why we're in the situation that we are. We don't believe prayer works, but it don't work for any and anybody, but it especially work for us, man. Because that's the definition of who we are as a people. We're prayerful.
The prayer of a righteous availeth much. Fervent, continuous prayer of a righteous, right person, a rightness, avails much. And so I know prayer is what have me alive today. So, you ain't gonna ask me what about prayer, but it's gonna get better. It's gonna get better. I think everything is season, times and season, and America is in a season now where it's, she gained some lash because she kind of stray a little bit from the faith. So it's just like parents, when you go off a little bit, you got to get tightened up. But it will be okay. I would want to live no other place in the world. And I just believe it will get better. It will get better for even for people of color as a people, it will get better. But again, we got to emancipate ourselves from the mental slavery, the thought of who we are. We've got to shift from it and recognize that we are the soul. We're chosen. We're chosen. We're a chosen people. We are a royal priesthood. We're a generation of the who God has called His own. And so I like what you were, Tegan, because I'm studying in Deuteronomy right now. I mean, I did 12, Deuteronomy 12, between 12 and Deuteronomy 30.
It's a very who we are. We don't know. We forgot who we are. They took away prayer from us out of school. We don't know who we are.
We've allowed them to make us think what they want us to be. But I know better. I could say some stuff here and they're gonna be like, "Don't bring you back," and I sure you know. But I'll say one.
They would never say that. They would never say that.
I remember the first one time I ministered, right? And I said to the congregation, I said, the first thing you guys have to realize is Jesus was a man of color.
Facts.
And the whole church, they went like, because this is like 20 years ago. So the elders are looking at me like, and I said, so they began to give a description of what Jesus looked like. And he said, brass. And then it says his hair was that of wool, right? And I said to them, I said, okay, so let's just think about it. What color is brass? So they look at me. I said, and who here don't nap up? When the Rastafarian or when people started wearing locks, when that movement started, people, they ostracized those people, but they were onto something. They were touching themselves. They were getting back to themselves. But the way it was painted was, if you do that, that means you're a thief, a robber, or whatever. But now, everybody doing it, and we call it style.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
That's facts.
Yeah.
When it's self-constant, I could take you to some places. So to get you to understand that if you are a man of color, you should be proud of who you are. Because the very Christ that walked, he looked like you. When Moses went into the house of Pharaoh, even though they took him as a son from a baby, him growing up, they knew he was different because he looked different. And it was his complexion. He stood out in Egypt. Because he was a Jew. So those are the things I try to get people to see. This thing of if you're black, you stay black. And I don't subscribe to those foolishness, I really don't.
That's ridiculous.
I really don't subscribe to because a person white that they smarter than me. I like, as a sergeant major, I've sat in a room with 325 people. And myself and General Ronaldo Rivera and maybe 3 other people were the only people of color in the room. And the people are looking at us like, how you get, they're looking at how you become a general, how you become a sergeant major. We looking at them like, we here and we ain't going nowhere. We're not going nowhere. The only thing I didn't like was if I decide to not go to a meeting, I would have stand out there and know that I was missing. So I couldn't miss none of the meetings. Yeah, you go to that conference and they boring. You find some way to go back to your room. Nobody don't miss you. I couldn't afford to do that because I'm telling you, we stood out, and it shouldn't be like that. We should be having our young people to aspire to be greater than what we've been. After I
Yeah.
became the state command sign major, the state command sign major right after me was a female. You know, so just be your best you. Don't try to be anybody else. Some people trying to be Tegan, some people trying to be Moma. No, you need to be your original you. Be you. You were born for a purpose. Again, I say it all the time. You are unique. There is nobody like Momba Rivera. There's nobody like Tegan Shepherd. There's no Mona Barnes. Tell me your name one time.
Beanie.
Beanie.
The government name. What you talking about?
The government, I take that
See?
name. Beanie. There is no other Beanie. You know? And
Beanie Man.
once you come and you realize what your purpose is, and that's the next thing. People don't know their purpose. They don't know, why are you here? Why are you here? With all of the children that have been aborted, with all of the children that have died in childbirth, why you make it? 3 million sperms going up and one catch and created you. What is it about you? What is it about you? It got to be something special while you're here. And people
Facts.
just find what it is and walk in that thing, whatever that thing looks like. So that's what I try to do.
Love it.
Well, it definitely sounds like you love what you do, and you could see it, you could hear it out your voice, you could see it in the comments of the viewers, the people that knows you, the people that's in your congregation. You definitely tell you to touch everybody. Tegan knows you well. I know of you. This was good. I was watching on the while I was working, so I didn't miss a beat. I started late, but I did catch you when I first started. But this was nice, and you definitely dropped some gems tonight. I love the way how you deliver. Sometimes when you go to some churches and you go to some congregations, you don't understand what in the world these people talking about. And I just love the way how you deliver.
Yeah.
Like it's not hard to understand what you're saying. Like a 3-year-old could come and understand exactly what you're saying. A 4-year-old could come and understand exactly what you're saying. And I love that.
Yeah. And that's what separated Jesus and the scribes and Pharisees. The scribes and the Pharisees they used to talk so intellectual, right? Like people used to be like, we don't even know what you don't know what y'all talking about. Jesus came, and he was just wherever Jesus went, he just created a church. And because of the simplicity in what he said, it caused the people to really feel like, wow, I could get with this guy.
Right.
But the church folks, watch this. It was the church folks that crucified Jesus, and it wasn't sinners. And that's another I could preach on that, but it's true. Why? Because they said, you ain't acting like us. You ain't doing it like how we doing it. So we don't like how you doing it. And Jesus was like, yeah, because how you doing it, you throw up.
You can go, Father, it's the black people and crucified Jesus.
Yeah, you're trying to run an organization when I'm trying to introduce a kingdom. See? That's the difference. They were trying to run an organization. And Jesus was like, I know the laws and all of that, but I am coming to just fulfill that. All of this, you can't do this, you can't, don't do this, don't do that. Jesus said, what's the first commandment? Is to love. And the one that my pastor that's teaching right now, she's teaching on love. Love is hard. It's hard. It's hard, Love is work.
Definitely work.
Love is work. I tell people I'm right now I'm counseling 3 young people for marriage. I told them marriage is work. It is a commitment to work. They're watching me. I'm like, okay, yeah. You know, it's you got to work at it. You're not going to always agree, but you got to find common ground. Um, you know, it's life. We don't always get our way, but can we find a common ground? Can we? Is there somewhere where I can meet you in the middle, or maybe we need to just put this off for a minute and go and come back and try again? You know, but it's life,
It's
you
true.
know, and
It's
I
true.
love life. Every day I don't smile, I'm not happy every day, but I'm thankful. I'm thankful
So
because the situation could have been different. You know, yeah, very
so
thankful.
so Mona, as we coming up to the 3 hour mark, you want to give some shout outs, you want to shout out your mom and and everybody that's
Yeah,
watching. You want to
I want to first thank my mom for her love for me. I think she's one of the only people that love me in spite of. You know, I want to thank my family. And when I speak of my family, not just my immediate family, I'm talking about the people that actually work with me in ministry and cause me to be who I am because of who they are. I want Phoenix to know that I love him with every part of my being. He's been one of the pillars in my life that has caused me to be who I am, and I am forever grateful. I am forever grateful and will always be grateful to him. And I want to thank you, Mumba and Beanie and Tegan for the opportunity to just even sit and speak with, you know, three young men that is doing something for your community, for your nation. I want to pray God's blessing on each of you, that God will continue to use you for his honor and for his glory, whether you recognize it or not. Just being on this platform, God is using you. And I want to thank God. I bless your podcast and that it will reach the world and you know everything that your heart desire. Pray for your family if you have children, and even for your children's children. Pray for those that are listening on tonight, that God will just continue to cover us as a people and as a nation, and we will begin to love true love, that kind of love that God has called us to love. And I just pray that your podcast continue to be successful. If there's anything that I can do, you know, Tegan can always find me. Somebody could find me, and you know, anything that I can do to be a part of what you're doing, or if you ever need me for anything, just know that you can call on me.
Thank
And
you.
thank you so much.
really
Thank
appreciate
you
that.
so much.
Really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to all your family that was in the chat. All your friends as well too. Shout out to them. Shout out to everybody that tune in. To support you, Mona. Appreciate all you guys and all you guys support. So great questions. Some great questions today. So it was lovely. It was lovely.
One thing, when you have to come back and speak to us, and one thing I want you to touch a little more on. You say you've been a business owner for 23 years. You said.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would like to hear a little more about that. You talk about how you give advice on how people could get into owning their own business and things of that nature. So,
I could drop one thing to you. You know how I started my first business? I went to the Department of Licensing and Consumer Affairs, and I tried to find out all of the companies that were doing business in the territory that was being outsourced. And outsourced means that they did not have the company within the territory to do the work. And that's how I found my first business.
which
It was
was
FSH Enterprises. It was an environmental company that specialized in underground storage tank monitoring. And
mm,
watch this, I did that for about no, about 20 years. And it was a monopoly. No one else did what I did.
that's the way to go. Being a monopoly.
Yeah, I used to monitor. I used to have to go to the gas station. If you ever go to the gas station and you look on the ground where they fill the tanks, there's a tank and a diamond with it, and that's the monitoring tank that monitors if the tank is leaking. So I used to go out and do that. But what happened was EPA changed the regulation. And so instead of monitoring it monthly, they now had to do it 24 hours. So they put in a system. But before that, I used to do that once a month for just about every gas station in the territory. To include, I used to travel to Tartola once a month.
That's what's up.
Yes, sir. That's good.
Yeah, that was good. It became too much for you 24 every day?
No, what happened is because of the EPA ruling, it couldn't be done by man anymore. It had to be done by a machine.
And you did say 24 hours.
Yes,
Okay, good.
and 24-hour monitoring. But that's what I do. I look to see businesses that are being outsourced. And then I just, because if you're outsourcing, you're getting a business from a company that's outsourced, then that means if you do it locally, it's going to be cheaper for the person. Because before, they used to bring somebody from Puerto Rico, they had to pay hotel, they had to get, transportation, per diem, all of that. And I'm right here on island. And so it's very, very, very comfortable. Very, very comfortable.
That's good, man. That's a
Smart, smart.
nice little gem there.
That's one of the things you can do.
Well, Pastor Barnes, we thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for sharing your story, delivering the word, talking politics, talking about our community, your friendship, fellowship. We really appreciate you taking the time out to come and chat with us tonight. This what this podcast is about: giving everybody an opportunity to share their story, speak their word, deliver a message. Anything that anybody could take from this and use it positively is always a good thing. So we appreciate you for coming on tonight. Tiga Mumba, you got anything?
Well, for me, pretty much, I mean, it's just all love. I mean, I could just listen to you all night, really. And it's just a joy just having another spiritual person on this podcast because it's just living proof that you can turn to Satan and turn them into gems. One to the top and one to the bottom. So that's good that you can really give them the word and they got a word this week. So I'm very happy that you was able to share that. But everything about you is just moving. You're a critical thinker, which I love. You think outside the box. And when you have people like you, it means we're in good hands. And may God continue to bless you and keep doing what you do. And anytime you need me, you can always call me.
Thanks. I know that. Thank you so much. Tika, I love you. I love you,
I love you the same.
I really,
You know that.
love you. I love you. For where you've been and just how humble you are. You bless me. You really bless me. It ain't too many like you. So consider yourself blessed.
Well, these two are like me, but I need to get them home in the Virgin Islands. But they are just like me.
No,
that's why we get along good.
No, that's true. There ain't too much like him. we coming home soon, Tiga. We coming home soon. Don't worry.
Please do, please.
Before I speak at Mona, why Tiga always act like if I don't be home? I don't understand that.
You'll be sneaking in. He don't only come home to play me one-on-one, but when he come home, man, he's able to be hot. So.
I don't be home. I don't be home every year. Come on, man. No, man. But Mona, it's been a pleasure getting to know you. Like I've really gotten to know you, so it's been a pleasure. You are a wise lady. One thing about the podcast, Pang spoke on it, but what I get from the podcast is that we get to hear a lot of different point of views from so many different people, on what they've been through, on what they go through, and their way of thinking. And I gravitate to, excuse me, I gravitate to the way you think so much. It's amazing. You're a confident person. You've been through a lot. You face a lot of adversity, and you turn the adversity into strength. And you turn your adversity into opportunities to make it better for so many different people. And you have a heart of gold that you care so much about people that you sacrifice so much, to help people. And that's what stands out, stands out to me. You talk about Genix, how much he's been an influence in your life. He's been an influence in my life too, just because, he has coached me too. And my I could I could relate to a lot when you talk about when it comes to him. But I just want to tell you, I really appreciate you, as a woman, as a black woman, as an island woman, and as a human being, as a daughter, So, I appreciate everything that you do. I appreciate everything that you're doing. You more than welcome to come on you more than welcome to use our platform to talk about anything whatsoever. If it's someone that's, involved with your church, your ministry, etc., and you would like them to come on, the more than welcome for them to come on. Like I said last episode, this is for the people, and all we're here to do is just spread love, spread positivity, and it's all about, each one teach one, just helping everybody. So, I appreciate you. I love you, and thank you for everything. And thank you for the great words tonight. I learned a lot and I really appreciate it. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Well done, Mumba. Well done.
Mumba, this is for you. Great show last week. You held on the fort while me and Tegan was gone. Proud of you. You did a good job. Apologize to everybody for not being there. I had to do a lot of running around to get my son prepared for school the next day. But Mumba, you did an awesome job, and I watched that whole interview and was locked in. Even at the end, you were giving your little story at the end, and good way to hold on the fort while me and Tegan were out.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. You know how it is, man. The same way like when you guys went to Complex and stuff like that. You guys passed the baton to me and I hold on the fort and I represent. So that's, appreciate it.
I got something special. 2004. I saw the date on the side. The Tegan from Mumba.
Is that the autograph you couldn't find?
Yes. I went looking for it all over because I know I had it.
That's how we treat me, Mona and Pang. That's how we treat me. You treat me like garbage.
I want one.
But I got one.
I got you.
I got one more.
I got you.
What about this one? You never said that one there.
No, I never see that one there.
Resurgence of VI dominate Canada. This one we beat Canada. Pang was the star of the show.
Oh, that's me or that's Pang?
That's Pang ripping a man and he didn't even know he ball get steal. That's why we beat Canada.
That's a beautiful picture, man. You gotta post that.
That's nice. That's nice.
You gotta post that for
They're going up on the wall, Beanie. They're going up on the wall.
Yeah.
I got that same cut out there.
So, Mona,
nice one.
we appreciate you. I know you inspired a lot of people. So appreciate the photos you sent me. And I posted. So it's amazing seeing all the history. Real quick before we leave, are you in contact with any of your teammates, your former teammates?
Oh yeah. It's still, I still see Sherry, Diane, my cousin Doreen. Yeah, man. Just about everybody that in the page, I still see them from time to time. Magda is still here.
I would like to do something for you guys, and I have one coming up. Well, I have to contact the guys them that play for the Central High School basketball team 81-82 with Coach Lockhart, and we also try to do the one with Mandem and Pushers, right? Pushers, yeah,
Pushers.
And I'd like to do one with you guys, Mona. With all the star ball players. If you guys would like to come on and just talk about your experiences, playing and representing the Virgin Islands and stuff like that. And just talk about growing up playing star ball in the Virgin Islands, and you guys could kind of reminisce on your playing days and stuff like that, etc. And talk about the influence and some of the coaches that you guys play for. If you're willing to do that, if they're willing to do that, we like to have like a round table discussion, put it that way. And it's more of a celebration as a group, for the Virgin Islands, maybe it might inspire some of the Saba players and stuff like that. So I would like to do that to honor you guys as a team, etc.
That would be great. So I know Gene is listening, so I know I'm gonna get a phone call tomorrow and he gonna tell me how he want me to do it.
Yeah, definitely. So
but it's something I can work on. That's not a problem.
Okay.
All right.
Well, to everyone that was watching, this was a real good one. Thank you for spending 3 hours and 13 minutes and counting with us. We really appreciate y'all, and just remember, there's no us without you. Keep viewing, keep
True.
sharing, the page. Invite everybody to come and watch us, and take a night off and enjoy the content. And until Sunday, till the next interview. Remember who we interviewing?
We have we're interviewing Lynn's mom, Saba player. I have her name written down somewhere, but it's somewhere. But I just call her Miss Libot. So I apologize, but we have Miss Libot coming on Sunday. I will be speaking to her probably tomorrow is Thursday. Yeah, I'll be speaking out tomorrow. So we'll have the time. It's probably gonna be around 5:30. So we have her on. Mona, you probably know her. You probably played against her.
Okay.
So, so that's who we have on next.
All right.
So,
Yeah. I'm gonna look at it.
Yeah. So we have the females represented. Definitely. Yeah.
Let me get storyline. She always in the chat. She can't come on.
Yeah.
I'm waiting. She's working on something. So she says she tried to get it sent to me. So once I receive that, then we'll have her on.
Acting up. We need to see you on the podcast.
So, but we have a list. I have a long list. I have a long list of people I show you real quick. This is the list of the names, of people that have to, we got to get in contact and have on the show. So there's a lot of people,
Great.
So, and episode 41 is Kevin Shepard's episode 41. Episode 41 is Kevin Shepard.
When is your episode?
Man, I'm be honest with you, I don't even know, man, because I have so many people I want to get. 40.
Well, I'm glad I was 27, because I tell you,
Yeah.
that was profound. That was amazing. I can't believe it.
Good. Iconic number for that number means something to you. I'm glad it turned out that way.
People saying it's blank.
That's a long list. I can see it.
Yeah, it's not so.
No, Brian, I was telling them 27 at 27 is when I really started getting my life on track. And then my birthday is December 27th.
So you share a birthday with one of my close friends.
Yeah, and then he said this is episode 27. So I mean, what were the chances?
I know, right? It's amazing,
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep.
I mean, 41 is when I gonna start getting my life on track.
No. Your life on track, man.
I just messing with you.
This dude crazy. This dude what? Oh my god.
Hey, Didi, your birthday coming up, September 6th, 7th?
7. My birthday fall on late. My birthday fall on Labor Day this year.
What day is your birthday, Billy?
You see how they trying to diss the brother?
Oh, my mom is the 6th.
Oh, Tegan, will you be the 9th or the 13th?
The 17th. You go.
17. Okay.
Can't forget mine.
Okay.
No, it's too close.
Well, Mona, me and you in December, they in September, so we good.
Your mom is a good lady. She's a Virgo. She's a good lady.
Yes.
Well, that is.
Well, to everyone, enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you for sharing the night with us. We really appreciate it. Everybody get some rest, and we do get ready for this thing called walking the morning.
Yeah.
Bless to everybody. Thank you, Mona, once again. Enjoy the rest of the night.
Hold up, don't go yet. One last request, sorry. So we have a request from the legend, Kidzo Swanson, and he would like the great pastors to send us out in prayer.
Oh, right. Easy. Let's pray. Father God, tonight we want to thank you because you're so good. We thank you, God, for this time that we were able to sit and commune. God, we pray even for every family that's represented, even those that are watching via the podcast. God, we thank you that your kingdom will come and your very will and purpose will be done in our lives. We thank you, God, that we will be better because you desire the best for us. We pray as we go to our separate places that you'll take us there and we'll have pleasant sleep. God, raise us up ready and prepared to do your will and to do your purpose in the earth realm. We thank you that we will continue to bring glory to your name in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. God bless you. For those of you that got to work, do that work. Put that work in. I'm going to pray for you.
Yeah, thank you, Mona. Thank you, Zora, for that request.
All right.
Appreciate that.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Good night, everybody. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.